Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit education or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This video was made for entertainment purposes and is transformative in nature.
You feel, however, that we're making progress in this country and worldwide?
No. I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And they haven't even begun to pull the knife out, much less try and heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there. You haven't.
Hey, John, what do you want us to take away from this extraordinary series of yours?
Well, I want people who are not Latin to have Latin envy and wish they had been born Latin, and for Latin people to realize, damn, being Latin is a superpower, man. I mean, the things that we've suffered in this country, 500 years, our wealth was stolen from us. We were lynched. We were burned, shot alive. We've been the only American citizens that have ever been deported by the millions. And yet we contribute and we build and we thrive.
To me, if you have been here for 5 years and you do not have a criminal record, you will be able to go on the dignity status for 7 years.
That status is like a probation period.
You will not be deported. You will not lose your assets. You can work anywhere in the country. You will pay taxes.
And there would be an additional tax.
A new levy of 1.5 withholding called the dignity levy will be held from your paycheck. You will not have access to any government program and will have to buy your own health insurance.
And another charge.
You will pay $700 a year for 7 years, and that adds up to around $5,000. Those $5,000 will represent around $45 billion.
This is provided that the undocumented immigrants total 10 million, but there are more.
And that fund will go to pay for border security. The other bucket of money, the 1.5, will go to re-educate or retrain any American who believes that he or she has lost his job opportunity, to an undocumented.
Some of the other legislators who support the bill said they are aware that it is not perfect. They said it's better than doing nothing.
Various groups, feminists, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the black civil rights experience.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, because I think it's one of the most important points of the book. I mean, I think the way liberals have treated blacks like children, and many of their policies have been harmful to blacks, at least they got the beneficiary group right. We do have to, I mean, we shouldn't. There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortions, but or gays who want to get married to one another. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. They dropped the blacks after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks. We done to the immigrants. We owe black people something. We have a legacy of slavery. Immigrants haven't even been in this country. Democrats are dropping the blacks and moving on to the Hispanics because they're a larger group of Hispanics now. But could I just say to Jorge, I hate to disagree with you when you're attacking President Obama, but I think the point on immigration is you can have open borders or you can have a welfare state. You cannot have both.
Doing a great job with the heart these days.
You late again, Eddie.
Trying to do. You ain't gonna do it.
See, Big Red done pulled my coattail to you a long, long time ago.
That's bullshit, Eddie. You talking crazy.
Crazy like a mother fox. And you, I can see through your jive ass like glass, nigga.
Eddie, you got it all wrong, man.
Stealing my moves. My style, nigga. Even ain't trying to rip like me.
Hey, man, why don't you get your boy out of here and detox him? You want my spot flash?
Slum-dwelling, scum-sucking, slug-ass motherfucker. You want my spot flash? Huh? Well, you ain't gonna get it, cause you ain't got it.
These kind of boys seems innocent, Boogie. Got everybody on the post thinking he's a strong black buck. White boys envy his strength, his speed, power in his swing. Then this colored champion lets those same white boys call him Shine or Sambo.
Whoa, Lord.
And he just smiles.
Dream about the time when I was a little boy.
Can't talk.
The night would get
Can barely read or write his own name. And don't care. He'll tell you they like him. Or that colored folks ain't supposed to have but so much sense.
Yes, he would.
You know the damage one ignorant Negro can do. We were in France in the First War. We'd won decorations. But the white boys had told all them French gals that we had tails. Then they found this ignorant colored soldier. Paid him to tie a tail to his ass and run around half naked making monkey sounds. They put him on a big round table in the Cafe Napoleon. Put a reed in his hand, crown on his head, blanket on his shoulders, and made him eat bananas in front of all them Frenchies. Oh, the white boys danced that night. Passed out leaflets with that boy's picture on it. Called him Moonshine, King of the Monkeys. And when we slit his throat, you know that fool asked us what he had done wrong. My daddy told me we got to turn our backs on his kind, Wilkie. Close our ranks to the chitlins, the collard greens, the cornbread style. We are men, soldiers. And I don't intend for our race to be cheated out of its place of honor and respect in this war because of fools like CJ. You watch everything he does. Everything.
You said your people have been fighting for 400 years.
Man, your peoples too.
So I just want you to explain what you mean by that.
You know what I'm talking about. Y'all all know what I'm talking about, man. Don't sit up here and try to bait and not know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what the I talk about when I say these things. Your people too.
Explain it. Not everybody knows what you're talking about.
Radio Raheem, I don't have to explain what's understood, man. You know what I mean by that. You know what I say about that. I ain't got to go further. And if anybody don't understand that, then God be with them. Go look up the history. Go look up the history. Don't everybody believe in Google? Go Google that. See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what. I dare you to sit up there and say, explain. You know what I'm talking about, man. He's fighting people. You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day. You just sit here, you don't know.
And since the American white man has used his control over the press to rewrite history or retell history, and since the white man can't dispute this truth, it's not hate to say that we were kidnapped and brought here, it's truth. It's not hate to say that we were Jim Crow, discriminated and segregated, it's truth. It's not hate to say that the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in this country, came up with a hypocritical desegregation decision 9 years ago, which they haven't enforced yet. That's not hate, that's truth.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions. behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. I am your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is We Up Report. Want to say what's good to everybody that's in the house. Welcome to see all of y'all. Glad to see that y'all can stop by. You haven't stopped by before. We glad to see you over here. We always got a grand opening. Having to go down the aisle, having to see something to make you feel some kind of way. Remember, the motto of my show is the truth. Don't need no partner. Well, what we're going to talk about today, Mr. Blows Your Minds? Well, some of y'all might have came over here due to the title, due to the thumbnail. Matter of fact, I'm running late tonight. Matter of fact, I don't even have all my descriptions in there. I do have what it is about, but all the other credentials I need so that it can get out, I'm not going to have. So I'm probably have to do that afterwards. But just in case you come out here because of the thumbnail or the title in itself, well, what we're going to talk about today, well, I'll go ahead and show y'all this thumbnail right quick. I don't even know what happened to all that. Well, go ahead. All right. Put that up there for me on the screen there, sir. We're going to talk about Back to Africa Not Working. Let me say that again. Back to Africa Not Working. Well, what do you mean by that, Mr. Blows Your Mind? All right. Well, you know, there's those who pitch, whose game or whose, let's say, ideology, whose purpose in life have been, as a matter of fact, when you look at the history of Back to Africa, you could say about 207 years of working that's been trying to get our people back to Africa, right? About 207 years people have been trying to get us back to Africa. So what happens when Back to Africa becomes not working, inefficient, obsolete, outdated, defunct? What about just downright it ain't working? Because maybe what happens when those who believe in that, a lot of them like to pitch the game and tell you about how you posted and they ain't left themselves, and then they advocate on all of us leaving, but now something is happening in this country. There's things manifesting right before your eyes. When do you have to say, throw that out the window, throw it out the window, and realize you already at home? Let me say that one more again. For those who keep pumping that, and telling us that, insinuating that, and that's the agenda to do, now that you see that what happened today, as I will touch about what happened over there in Jacksonville, Florida, after about a week or so ago, when there was the elation of what happened in Alabama, what y'all think gonna happen? What y'all thought was gonna happen? What y'all thought? So now Back to Africa is gonna be off the table. If you ain't gone now, when you ain't making preparation to already be leaving, now what is your ideology gonna be as you see that, well, this could just be a lone wolf? We can look at it that way and say it could be a lone wolf. Is it? Or is there things, as I will show in today's show, of the 207 years and really the agenda to try to take somebody who already knew they was already planted, but your mind, what they say, the old song, your mind's, your body's next to me, but your mind's on the other side of town. Let me say that one more again. It's like that song said, your body's next to me, but your mind is on the other side of town. Well, that's like you here, your generations of bloodline has been here, but they got your mind keep taking you over there in Africa. Okay? Now that you see that the stove and the water is boiling and things want to get hot, you already got your ticket? You ready to run? Or is it time to look at it and say, you know what? That's outdated, man. That's done with. This home. So, what's a castle doctrine? Protect your home, right? Castle doctrine. It's time to protect your home. You're not safe no matter where you go, it seems. Again, this is an incident, but we have had several incidents, and we know those who know the game know when that was going viral and the antagonization and the, the laugh-a-thon and right? Oh, right? And then last week, let me for those who last week when I did the show, I think some people felt some kind of way because I said, let me make this real clear. We're gonna make this real clear. I said last week, for those who think that was fake and want to ride with that, and I said, well, I'm talking like Richard. Richard, when you got Venus and Serena and their daddy, when Venus was doing the interview and the white man was trying to ask her the question of can you beat her? We're talking about a person, she was like, yeah, I can beat her. She said it with such confidence. And he was like, you say it with such confidence. Richard had to step in. Richard had to step in and say, leave that alone. Now, do you understand why I meant leave that alone? Do you understand now? Because sometimes some people get their feelings because maybe, again, it ain't made for everybody. I got some technical difficulties over here. Let me see if I can fix it. They keep doing that. I don't like that. But anyway, right? You leave that alone. Whatever it was, because sometimes you're going to need something to give you some motivation, because if you ain't never gotten none, because they kind of say like little boys that's raised by their mamas and don't have the masculine energy around them, they catch on with how mama do things, and then what they do is they follow mama's prescription. Don't mean that's the baddest thing, but it's also, you need to also understand the other side to the game. So when you get one finally in the game and you seen it, everybody went elated, but then the game went over. It's like seeing somebody celebrate before they get to the end zone. Somebody come and knock the damn ball out your hand right as you're going across the goal line, fumble, go another way. All that you did for nothing. The game ain't over, y'all. Y'all knew better than that. Now vigilance has to be on the mind because you know how they do copycatting, right? All right. But my thing is Back to Africa Not Working. So let's look at something. Let me show you something about this history. 207 years of them in that. And then again, there's some questions inside there, but then there's some things I'm going to show you. And then what's boiling up to all of this, right? So let me show you something. We ain't gonna talk about it no more. So let's go ahead and go to Jacksonville real quick, let you see that just in case those who may not have seen it. Here's a little story on that. Be right back.
Jacksonville, Florida, where there are multiple fatalities following a standoff between a gunman and police at a Dollar General store. CBS's Michael George is tracking developments. Michael.
Scott, good evening. Law enforcement officials say the shooter is a white male in his 20s who was motivated by hate. All three victims in this shooting were black.
The shooting happened at a Dollar General store in the northwest part of the city in the middle of the day. Jacksonville authorities say the suspect killed 2 males and 1 female before turning the gun on himself.
Plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people.
The sheriff says the shooter put on a mask and tactical vest in the parking lot.
The weapons that the shooter used today are a Glock and an AR-15 style rifle.
He left behind multiple messages, which authorities say amounted to an ideology of hate.
It's just something that should not and must not continue to happen in our community.
This comes in the midst of a weekend wave of gun violence. Today in Boston, at least 7 people were shot during the city's annual Caribbean Carnival. 2 suspects have been arrested.
What is going on?
In Oklahoma last night, players and fans rushed for cover when shots were fired at a high school football game.
Oh my goodness.
A 16-year-old boy was killed. No suspects arrested. And in Chicago, 2 women were shot and wounded in the stands at a White Sox game last night.
And back to that unfolding situation in Jacksonville, the FBI is investigating it as a hate crime, and a federal civil rights investigation is also underway. Scott?
All right, Michael George, thank
Something cut me short, right? What's going on here? Like I said, I got some technical difficulty, but you know how they go. We're gonna get through it. We know we're gonna get through it, right? So okay, that's Jacksonville, Florida. Again, as you heard at the General Dollar Store. You know, a lot of times that's, you know, we go in there and get our little knickknacks and, you know, dollar, you know, toiletries and things like that, and toothpaste and stuff like that. So again, as it's saying, it's racially motivated. White male, 20 years old, or was 20 years old. Victims was 3 black people, again in Jacksonville, Florida. They said racially motivated, and the tools that he used were Glock, the AR-15, and they talked about how the ideology of hate, because he did like that one in Buffalo did when nobody wanted to talk about that, what they call the manifestos, right? So he left a manifesto. And so they were for sure to say that he didn't like. It was that they stressed, right? And so says 7, let's see, there was 7 shot at a Caribbean carnival. I didn't even notice that until I had seen this report. Didn't hear nothing about it. I was up in Boston, right? So I didn't hear nothing. I didn't see nobody covering it, but I probably will after the show, but I didn't really see that. And then at a high school football game, they talking about it in Chicago at I think it was a White Sox game. So we have an incidents that are happening, playing out all around the country. That is nothing new. Again, you know, we're a gun-toting country, probably the most having gun society probably in the world. But you know, they want to get rid of that. So again, some people will look at this story, and we want to first, before I get into any of that. Oh, come on, put that back up on there for me, sir. Yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that, sir. Appreciate that for me, sir. Thank you. We want to give our condolences out to that family, the families of Jacksonville, Florida. And again, they say keeping our head on the swivel. All right, we all seen what happened at the riverboat. A lot of us smacked high fives. A lot of us cajoled and were wearing T-shirts and right, a lot of that stuff, right? So you got to remember the other side. It's like playing sports. You winning, and then you got to think about this people on the other side that's losing. And some of us, we can be like, shut up, hey man, that ain't got nothing to do with us. We taking this W, you hold that L. So that's how it is. But you know, you have sore losers. You know, they can have won 100 times, but that one time they lost is the time they can't take it. And so when it becomes this thing that became viral, and just imagine you was already somebody insignificant, little, right? But you hold on to that ideology of protection for the complexion, right? And so here's your chance to put yourself in history. And this is what you go do. So we, as Black folks, indigenous people of America, and others, it ain't always solely just for, you know, not my inclusive group, my biological family of the 13 of the nations here, what they call in the southeastern part, we call down south, right? But others as well that's being here, but particularly more because we have been here from the inception, have been doing all this, and this has a long history with us. And so we should know better, and we can't be out here with our guards down, acting this as like things can't happen. Some people felt some kind of way. Some even again, as I was saying earlier in the beginning of the show, that some even believed that it was even fake. And I was saying, even if it was fake, leave it alone. Because whatever it inspired, whatever it put in, it's like saying everything in white history ain't true either. But if they psychologically they believe that, they're not trying to tamper. You see what Ron DeSantis has been doing over in Florida, right? They don't want to touch none of that. Because why? It's already done did generations of what it needed to embolden in the people, whether it was a lie or not. So why try to disdain or take away from something that may infuse, whether right or wrong? That's not that only them that was there know what was really it was about. The rest of us were spectators viewing it from our house, our phones, and so forth. So now it's getting real again, right? And you don't know how it's coming, when it's gonna come. So say, no need to get ready, stay ready, right? So I'm just saying the Back to Africa thing, well, I think that's over with. I really think that's over with. Because if you was gonna do that, you'd be gone by now. And even if he's talking about none of that other stuff now, because now it's like, I'm gonna show you something of a conversation that Tucker Carlson had with Donald Trump. And just listen to this. Again, I'm not here to incite or put fear, none of that. But just listen to what he's saying. And then as I lay out something, maybe you'll understand where I'm going. Check this out. I'll be right back. And just in case for them, Aboriginal in the house, what's good? I see your message, bro. Appreciate seeing you in the house here. And again, for those of you who are slow on your hands and stuff, go ahead, hit that subscribe, like, share button, right? If there anybody should want to give any donations in here, which is always needed, especially in a situation, been in this game for going on 12 years, you never heard of me. I'm the most suppressed, most hated show you're going to find anywhere on YouTube. So anyone want to do any kind of donations, I'll always be gladly appreciated, because you know I can't make no money on here, right? But I come on every week on Sundays. You ain't got nothing else to do, it's the place you need to come. Now, let me go back, let me play this for you, and we shall be right back. Check this out. This is what Carlson Tucker and Donald Trump just said about a little less than 2 minutes. Check this out.
Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
There's tremendous passion and there's tremendous love. You know, January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And you know some of the crowds I've spoken before. And like July 4th on the mall, I think they had 1 million people there. But I think that the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was on January 6th. And people that were in that crowd, a very, very small group of people, and we said patriotically and peacefully, peacefully and patriotically, right? Nobody ever says that. Go peacefully and patriotically. But people that were in that crowd that day, very small group of people, went down there, and then there are a lot of scenarios
hold on,
we can talk about.
Let me do this again.
But people in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. There was love in that crowd. There was love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love, and I've also never seen simultaneously and from the same people such hatred of what they've done to our country.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? We seem to be moving towards something.
I don't know, because I don't know what it, you know, I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Donald Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
That is a bad combination.
All right, let's see. All right, we back, right? I'm not sure if you caught the beginning of that or not. You know, they be in here, they be fidgeting and doing things, right? So what they did is kick me out. But you know what I'm saying? We back in here anyway. So I'm not sure. So if somebody want to tell me whether you caught the beginning of that or not, because I know I got kicked out of there. But you know, that's what they do, right? Sit in the background, right? But the point I'm saying is, You heard, if you heard, or should I play it again? Somebody tell me if y'all got to caught the beginning of it or not. Aboriginal, did y'all catch the beginning of that? Because I'm not sure, because like I said, they kicked me out. And I got back in. So with that being said, so you heard the conversation that Carson Tucker asked him and said, well, you know, do he believe that that is a possibility? Now, the Civil War don't necessarily mean between black and white. Could be, again, those who are, you know, again, the original Civil War had nothing to do with Indigenous American people, which is the Black Americans, right? Had nothing to do with it, but they sell that in history as if like really that's what it was about. But the truth of the matter is, no, it wasn't about that. It was about, again, tariff and taxes and so forth, and used that as later on as they were losing and implemented in and then confiscating and so forth. And then as we'll go in about, again, we talking about going back to Africa, you see that if you study your history thoroughly, and there's some people out here who trying to tell you that the insignificance of our history, that if we waddle and stay in history, that somehow we stuck back there. Well, your future right now, your present has a lot to do with your past. Let me say that one more again. Your present right now is the sum total of everything that happened to you prior to today. So whatever condition you in, health you in, status you in, broke you is, it has all to do with all the culmination of all the things prior to, before, till now. So those who shied off and make it like that, well, go ahead. Now, they talk about we going to the future. Well, you can't have a future if you don't know your own history to know the directory or trajectory that we're heading. So those who say that, well, they belittle it. Teach his own is what I'm going to say. Teach his own. Then you do what you got to do that make it float your boat. But I'm going to tell you, knowing these things that happened before, because again, it repeats itself, and then you can't discern when you see it as it's manifested right before your eyes. Now, again, the manifesto, the ideology, we done heard that before when Buffalo, when the shooting that was up in Buffalo, right? We done had the manifestos before. Matter of fact, when Rambo Dorner, when he was the police and he had the manifesto, was one of the, I ain't gonna say the first time, but it was the first time from the perspective of somebody being of color, right? Having a manifesto, right? And so we're seeing that people saying, I hear some people say, oh, this young man, he's too young, da-da-da-da-da. Why is a young man like that, feeling like that way? Well, wait a minute. This country was built on something. As much as everybody don't want to, and again, there's different generations out here. People on the different generations have a different way of looking at how things go. And then there's a lot of grown folks that preserve their livelihood and trying to make it so they want to be positive. There's nothing wrong with being positive. But we also got to be truthful about things too. And so when you see somebody that young and then they say they're trying to now blame it on internet, is where a lot of people, no. A lot of this is just homegrown. It's been generation for generation, because you can't have a system when you talk about we as the Indigenous American of this country and how legislatively, right? How things have always been in a slant to deprive us, disenfranchise us. And we try to act as if like somehow it's been our own, you know, that boomerang thing that a lot of our people love to do, is find a way to put it back on us and say, I don't blame and I'm not racist. Well, guess what, Sherlock? You never was the racist. You never was the one in the seat of legislation to make laws to disenfranchise. You just been on the defense, you know, like playing chess. You the black side of the board. They went first. They always go first. And so you're in the defense to offense. You understand? From defense to offense. A lot of you don't get it like that, right? So anyway, yeah, you heard the first part. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Okay, so with that being said, so is there the possibility of that happening in this country? There's a lot of things formulated. There's a lot of disgruntledness on a lot of sides, except for those people who coming in here that, well, I got a problem. We got a problem. It's not about hating nobody, but we all being displaced in some kind of way, shape, forms. We all being displaced. Some in better position than others, some because of generational transfer. Again, remember when they went from analog to digital? That was a transfer, it was a change, right? But what about the people who were analog? They can't make the transition because maybe they were too old or were old enough that would say, hey, they say an old dog can't learn new tricks. Man, because they don't want to. I did all the tricks. Ain't nothing new for me to do. But yet, as the future is going forward, it's leaving people behind. And so when you look in the streets, see the homelessness, you think it's a lack there, but when they say, oh, they just using drugs, they're alcoholics, or they didn't want nothing like, tell me anybody who don't want nothing. Tell me somebody who don't want nothing. Who in this life don't want something? But when you got a game that's rigged and favored, and someone say, oh, that's the victim card. Well, nigga, let me tell you something. Yeah, I said it. Nigga, let me tell you something. You can't play a card if it ain't no game to play it in. Let me say that one more again. Nigga, I said there ain't no damn, you can't say there can't be no victim, and you can't use a damn card if it ain't a damn game for me to play the damn card in. So there is a game. It's just whether people really want to acknowledge it and then try to use the old adages of, oh, that was back then. Back then, again, with your history is where your present is. Everything that happened, everything that everybody that has ever been tied to me and you started from back then to get where we are right now. Whatever they robbed, steal, kill, benefited, profit from it, and inherit and let it be inheritable to you, you benefit from it. Everything I've been deprived of, can't get, been locked out of, miseducated in, I'm a byproduct of it today. Oh, you individualize. It's an individual game. Really? Okay. We're going to see about that, right? So let's look at something. Let me show you some add-ons to this thing that they want to sit there and talk about some, Let's see what's put some of the wood on the fire that makes people get mad these days. Now, again, this ain't about race. This is just what it is from my perspective. You agree to disagree. But let me show you something here that just came out in the news sometime this week. Now, when we say European, who do you got in your mind? When I say the word European, who's that? Who's automatically given that? Who's in the mind's eye of your head when you say European, right? Now, probably a given, right? That was you ain't got to tell me, but I already know what's already in your head, right? Now, if I say Iceman, you gonna say who? You got somebody in your head, right? Well, let me just show you something that just came out this week, just in case you didn't catch it. Again, when the four walls is closing on you and you ain't got nowhere else to go, you're gonna come out fighting. But watch what I'm talking about. Want to see something? Did y'all see this? Did any of y'all see this? Huh? Did you see this? Now again, you see that 2 dots on that O? Y'all say it like this. Otzi, Otzi, huh? Otzi. Otzi the Iceman gets a new look from genetic analysts. Let me say that again. Otzi, the Iceman gets a new look from genetic analysts. Uh-oh. I thought that was already a given. I thought we already know who the Iceman is. Didn't we? Didn't we already know who the Iceman is? Now again, let me show you something. Because see, I call it well, let me give that the original look, right? So I said the Iceman, you're gonna say this. He gonna look like that, right? The Iceman in your head is something like Mel Gibson dressed as a caveman, right? Okay, possibly, could be, right? It could be Mel Gibson, right? It could be, right? Let me take that down up there for that screen for me. Unless somebody gonna hit me up. If you do, we appreciate it because you know what I'm saying. We the most hated show going on 12 years, so any contributions will always be well. Anyway, so yeah, this caveman looking dude there, right? Yeah, they gonna run up out of here. Of course they gonna run up out of here. They don't want to see that because they already know. They already know. Y'all don't know. See, this is when you know the 4 walls is closing on you. So, with that being said, I had seen this little show a little bit. This is here, let me show this slowly. This is like they say, give your sources, right? This ain't nothing but about 12 seconds. Look at this right quick. I want to show this. Look, I want to show you. Check this out.
Hey guys, I am Brian Osborne, joined by Dr. Kaya Kloster and Rob Webb. And this is, again, Answers News. We're so glad you're here. We'll cover a bunch of news items from a biblical perspective, but we will start with this one.
21st, 2023.
And so what this is an Iceman. So he was found in ice. Poor guy. Right? But he was found, and basically they've studied him over multiple years now. And he's a mummy found out of melting ice out of a glacier. And initially did a DNA analysis and thought he had particular ancestors. And then further analysis with better tools led to different conclusions. And so what this is an Iceman. So he was found in ice. Poor guy. Right? But he was found, and basically they've studied him over multiple years now. And he's a mummy found out of melting ice out of a glacier. And initially did a DNA analysis and thought he had particular ancestors. And then further analysis with better tools led to different conclusions. And so what this is an
and play twice, right? So he told you, well, and found and reconcluded what we thought we originally knew, and it does not match up what we said originally. Now, let me show you on the screen here. Let me show you on the screen what they said. Let me show you this. Let me show you on the screen. See? Otzi has conventionally been depicted with long, unkempt hair and pale skin. These interpretations arose in part from the genetic sequences of the mummy back in 2012. But a highly quality redo of Otzi genome suggests that the Iceman probably had very little hair on his head, had much darker skin than previously thought, concludes a study published 16 August in Cell Genomics. Let me say this one more again. Otzi has conventionally been depicted with long, unkempt hair and pale skin. These interpretations arose in part from genetic sequences of the mummy back in 2012. But a highly quality redo of Otzi genome suggests that the Iceman probably had very little hair on his head and had much darker skin than previously thought, concludes a study published on 16 August of Cell Genomics. Right? Okay. What are you saying, Mr. Bloody Mind? Well, it's saying that the Iceman, who they assumed and thought and pretty much had stamped approved that he was European white like them. But now they redo the test and did it the right way and come to conclude that Otzi is now melanated. What? Otzi, the Iceman. Wait a minute. So those of us who read the book Iceman Inheritance, any of y'all read that? The book called Iceman Inheritance? And they made you get, but remember they were coming out of Russia. Well, I think with the Basque people, B-A-S-Q-U-E, Basque people, right? Like the Russians, you know, when Eddie Murphy in 48 Hours, when he said, give me a black Russian, and everybody thought that was the funniest shit, right? A black Russian? Well, go look at some of them old paintings back there, and you'll see that them people were not pale skinned. Okay? So you see, the thing is, the hardest thing is people are not able to accept the fact that who they are, and it's getting to the fact that the revelations of truths are foreclosing on these walls. And they said if you trap a cat, a mouse, a rat in the corner, it's gonna come out frightened. You understand what I'm saying? So let me show you something here. Right? So look at this here, right? Look at this map you see on your screen there, right? And so, you know, we'll come with it. Right? Right? So you see on your screen there, you see that they get the Iceman in that location over there. You see Spain, kind of like to the cat corner, the left cat corner, see Spain, right? Italy. They said they found the Iceman there. Closer to around, you know, you see Germany a little above to the top right of it in that little the blue boxes and stuff, right? Germany is just above it, right? But they saying that technically this Otzi man comes from really Anatolia. You see Anatolia is way over to your right in the yellow there. Anatolia. right? So if you watch that video entirely, you'll see that they will say, well, we're trying to figure out how did this African get all the way over there? Now, again, we're going to get into this African, because remember, the thing is about Back to Africa Not Working, right? Hold that thought, because we're going to touch that, because we got to get that straight, right? And the reason why I'm taking you here, because I'm going to show you something after this. But as they sat here, is again, let's go ahead. Let me give you some more of this background of this story, what they said here, as you see it on your screen, right? Now, they said the discovery makes sense. Consider the mummy's dark coloration and lack of hair, says co-author Albert Zink, a mummy researcher at the URAC Research in Bolzano, Italy. Italy, right? He said, I was surprised, he said, but when I thought about it, it explained much better why the mummy looks like it does. Then they talk about brown eyes, pale skin, right? Pale skin, yeah, over time, right? But the brown eyes. But anyways, Otzi preservation on ice presented an early opportunity to do ancient DNA work. In 2012, researchers published a draft version of Otzi's genome, one of the first ancient genomes ever sequenced. The analysts suggest that Otzi had pale skin, brown eyes, previously thought to be blue, and steep ancestry. Steeps. Anybody know the steeps? Them the steep mountains over there. That's after you go to the Caucasus Mountain, you come down to the steeps. And the steeps. So I got a book, go back, when they go back to them steeps and them names, and some of the hardest damn names, is just like watching a kung fu movie and there's no interpretation and they using all their language or using their characters. That's how the name was. It was just like that. And I'm like, wait, these probably European people? What they doing over here? And they name like this. And they come from them steep mountains. But anyway, okay, but that's another time. But anyway, moving on. Well, I got because we started late tonight, right? Started real late tonight. So it says this latter point was surprising because steep ancestry from ancient herding people hailing from Eastern Europe and Central Asia is common among Southern Europeans today. And research suggests that the steep people didn't make their way into Europe for 1,000 years after Otzi died. What, 1,000 years after? Wait a minute. So he was there before them. Oh, but anyway, but researchers knew early on that Otzi's genome wasn't sequenced perfectly. Of course not. Because why? People go today with these DNA tests and thinking that how can you go trace something back when you got two missing? Again, my mother do puzzles. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. She, you know what I'm saying? She was a master puzzler, I guess you can call, right? And I used to see how my mother would put that puzzle together and how she would frame the back part and go around into a box and then formulate from the sides and go to the middle. Now, the DNA is something similar like that. Is you try to connect everything. Now, how you going to connect? Now, this is for black folks and indigenous Americans. Some say black Americans, black folks. I know some people have their stick in the claw when you say black. We know what we're talking about, right? Indigenous, morals, and touchiness, all that above. That's like that puzzle. How did they say they connecting us back to Africa if we've been here? Even if you want to take the story of 1619, how do you get the African connecting me? Right? See, some people just take things and you run with it because you believe it. But I'm going to answer that, what I just posed to you. I'm going to show you where they got it from. I'm going to show you. This is the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube for a reason. For a reason. Right? So again, as they're saying in here, they said that it was surprising that they said that those who come from the steep ancestry, right? These are the people who are herding people. Herding, not hurting, but herding, right? And they said they come from Eastern and Central Asia. And they were more common around Southern Europeans today. Now, you know, in this country, they had a problem with the Southerners of Europe. When you talk about those Italy, those with the Italians and the Irish and all them, because why? Supposedly that history of the Moors going in 700, and been up there for like almost 800 years, and how that mixing of that blood tainted. So originally they were only getting the northern ones from Northern Europe, and the central and southern ones, they didn't mess with them until later on, as I might touch on, but that is part of the history. But anyway, so here they saying about that, and then they say, well, they would make their way from that part down there, but they saying, well, wait a minute, the Otzi man had been there. They said they came 1,000 years after he died. Now that's 1,000 years after he died. What? Then when did he die? So again, when they telling you them DNA tests and they saying Europe, don't necessarily mean it's them. Check. Anyway, so ancient DNA technology has since improved by leaps and bounds. That's what they mouth say. That's what they mouth say. They mouth say that, right? So Zink and his colleagues collected shards from Otzi. So you got to say Otzi, exposed his hip bone and sent it to Germany to be sequenced, right? All right, so this is what they say in the process here. Now I'm gonna clean this up, because I'm going to show you how to take it back when it comes to us here in the United States, and how did they sequence us. And the question I'm going to pose after we get there is the same thing. What you saying here, I'm going to pose that when they get back over on here. Now check this out. This higher quality genome showed that that Otzi suspected steep ancestry probably stemmed from the modern DNA contamination. Now here they go. They're going to say it got contaminated. That's why, and maybe the reason why it's saying this is because it got contaminated. All right, okay, anyway. Instead, the team found an astonishing level of Anatolian farming ancestry. Anatolian, like you see on your screen there, right? Anatolian, okay? And so they go on and say that these early agriculturalists who lived in the land sandwiched between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea are thought to have migrated into Europe and mixed with the local hunter-gatherers, okay? Thought to have, see? When you don't know your history, you can reconstruct it and make it fit for what you want. But when we get back and go to the truth, you ain't migrated with nobody, because they was there. You came 1,000 years after he died. But how long had he been in there? Oh, stay tuned, right? But anyway, but Otzi didn't carry much European hunter-gatherer DNA, hinting that his lineage was genetically isolated from other Europeans at the time. See, they still trying to find a way to make them still be there. You already done said, if you're paying attention, because what they saying is, again, let me put this on just in case somebody might want to go look at that. Again, put that on the screen from there, right? Put that up there, right? Right? Well, that's what they trying to say, right? They still trying to find a way. Well, maybe he was the only one there, but wait a minute, he predated to his bone predates to the time that you recorded. You're saying 1,000 years, so that means you must get the time frame that he died. So if it's 1,000 years, you come after that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I know, right? So they go and they talk about the skin pigmentation markers revealed that Otzi had much more melanin in his skin than expected, making him darker than modern Sicilians. Wait a minute. The Sicilians, right? Whoever seen that movie, what was the name of that damn movie that Dennis Hopper was in? And what was his name? He was King of New York. Remember him? Watkins, right? And remember, before they were going to kill him, remember they were going to kill him, and he had to tell him a story. He said, your great-great-great-grandmother fucked the nigger. You eggplant, right? Remember that shit? You remember that, right? Anybody remember that? Called him, right? And he killed him. He said, I ain't killed nobody since 69, right? Because he told that truth. Now, he was Sicilian. He said, I heard that you Sicilians got nigger in your blood, right? So that's why they saying because of the melanin they had in Otzi, they believe it's the same way how the Sicilians got in there. But they was there before them. They was there before them, right? All right. What's the blog about? What does it got to do with Back to Africa? Be easy now. Be easy. Right? Be easy, right? Previous work suggests that the Anatolians were in Europe at the time that Otzi was alive. Anatolians were now already in Europe before them, right? So it is not all that surprising that the mummy would have Anatolian ancestry, says Pontus Skoglund, an ancient genome researcher at the Francis Crick Institute in London. But the genome is a welcome addition to the details portrayed that exists about his life and final hours. Then one more part here, and we're going to move on, right? So the works reveal how much remains to learn about the mummy. Zink says, I'm often asked if after 33 years of Iceman's research, 33, right? Those who know, right? Every time I throw that 33 in there, right? Everything be known, says Zink. That's not the case. I think there will always be new doors opening for research. Again, right, we need more time so we can figure out how we're going to tabulate this to change up. Remember what Malcolm said in the beginning of my intro. Me, you, unless you knew here, you've been listening to that intro. One day it's going to dawn on you. You're going to be like, damn, Mr. Blow Your Mind he told it long before I laid it out. As I told you back in April 1st, 2014, the extinction of the white race. Again, I ain't talking about us going to do nothing. I just told you that it was going to be the coming catastrophic baby bus. And it's already present right now. So what you're seeing is you're going to see a lot of this jumping out the window because, if you got somebody in your house right now, they 12 and down, all of them already majorities. You know what I'm saying? They're already majorities. But anyway, right? So with that being said, so let me show you this here, right? So they will show you how they give a little depiction here, right? A little depiction here, right? A little bit right there, right? Okay. So you can kind of see a little bit. They see where that's Anatolian farmer, and they try to figure out how the hell he got way up there, basically almost in Spain, even though he all the way over there, Italy, all that, right? Germany. Yeah. See, that's why we argue for those people who try to landlock us in Africa. We are called everywhereans. Zoe Williams show from everywhereans, right? Everywhere. We've been everywhere. You dig? We've been everywhere. So when you landlock us and try to make us only be in one place, and then many of them say, I don't subscribe to being about the Bible story, then how else do you gonna get everybody in one place? And if you're thinking from the Most High position, Most High ain't got to start no one place to make everything, right? But that's a story that might be a story about somebody else, their beginning, and you took it as yours, right? Matter of fact, haven't I been telling you this whole thing is about who? Mortimer, right? Randolph and Mortimer, the architects. It's the architects sitting around here doing what? Trying to do what? Trying to figure out a way to do what? Trade in places, right? Trying to find a way to trade places, right? Been working this game for how long? Trying to trade places with somebody, right? Matter of fact, when they show you about who's an American, they tell you the copper color races of this country, and then end up saying, oh, but we taking that now and calling ourselves that. Is that not trading places? All right, so now let me go here and say, okay, well, Mr. Blow, you said now Otzi man, right? Now you saying the Iceman is not really white now, he's black, right? And that's because originally when they did the DNA test, they concluded that he was, ruffy hair white guy with blue eyes, and then now that they come and do a redo, they come to find out he's a melanated black man. Okay. Well, let me show you something just in case y'all did not know. Something that happened here in this country, right? Something happened here in this country, right? Let me show you this first, right? So, did you ever hear about how the discovery of an ancient or African burial ground in New York City changed the field of genetics? Let me say that one more again. How the discovery of African burial ground in New York City changed the field of genetics. Okay. Now remember, I just told you the story about Otzi Iceman, right? The Otzi Iceman, right? Now, they had found, they said, African burial ground in New York City. Okay. Now keep that in mind. They say African, right? African, right? All right, so let me show you this back in 2009 when they did this part, and let me show you a more up-to-date story. Well, actually, it's not. It's actually this is no. They just reported this a couple days ago, but they said that they found this store that's been on top of this burial ground is recent as of back of 2009. I guess since they've been on top of it. Listen to this and be right back.
We had archaeologists come in and to say for sure that they are remains of African descent in this site.
Dr. Patricia Singletary says she first learned that there are human remains of enslaved and free Africans buried under a city bus depot back in 2009 while researching her doctoral dissertation.
When Robert Moses came in and started his building initiative, tenements in Harlem were destroyed. Burial grounds were mowed over. This was one of them.
She decided to form a task force in hopes of getting the city to acknowledge and do right by the Harlem African Burial Ground, located on 2nd Avenue near East 126th Street. A few years ago, the task force convinced the city to dig through concrete slabs at the lot, creating 4 trenches. There, archaeologists discovered human remains and artifacts. Former council speaker Melissa Mark Viverito was an early supporter of the initiative.
Nobody ever thought that the bus depot was going to be decommissioned. They thought we were crazy to even offer that as as a solution. Here we are. The bus has been bus depot decommissioned.
Now the city is set to honor and recognize the cemetery, announcing the next phase of archaeological work at the African Burial Ground.
That will establish the complete distribution of human remains across the bus depot site, enabling their safe recovery and ultimate internment at the site's future memorial.
The proposal includes an outdoor memorial, an indoor education center, and housing for at least 600 New Yorkers. The cemetery was created during a time when blacks, whether free or enslaved, could not be buried with whites, despite the contributions of Africans in building the city.
We need to bring to light each group's history, and certainly to elevate and teach Black history, which will happen in this cultural center.
And the archaeologists will get to work in a couple months. They will help find the human remains, and then they will be moved and stored safely. Once that happens, construction will begin on the memorial site and also the building that will be constructed here as well. That's the latest from here in Harlem. Amy Yensi, Pix 11 News.
We back, right? Let's got some technical difficulties in here, right? All right, so let's look at that, right? All right, so there is a burial ground that they found under a parking lot recently, and as you heard them give that report of that, let me put that back up on the screen for me, there, sir. Yeah, put that back on the screen for me. Yeah, that one, that's fine. All right, so here it is. They find this. They talk about how there is a burial ground of enslaved and free, right? But did you notice how they kept stressing African? Why is it they keep doing that? You know what that is? That's like, that's like a hypnotist. And then they get your people to say it too. How does anybody know if anybody who they is if nobody's been identified? If it's been a mass grave and nobody has gone through and done any kind of archaeological research and genetics and so forth, how do you know if that? Why is it automatically given African? Well, those of you who've been avid watchers over here, remember when I did the show talking about Dred Scott, right? And the minute you admit of African or African descent, which I'm going to show you what does African descent really mean. Once you identify as that, you have taken yourself directly out of it. Now, again, Black does not make it any better. We're not saying that. And we know that, again, people are fighting to get reclaim back our Indigenous American, birthright and land, right? Right? And there's some people who think we crazy even talking like that. But the truth of the matter is, what I'm saying is, how do they get to say African when you don't know African? Just like we just looked at Otzi man, and remember, hey, what they said originally about Otzi man. Otzi man was originally deemed by your research and your genetic analysis in the beginning. You said he was a European, right? He was a European of the European of what y'all deem as the only Europeans. But when they come back and retest them in today's with the technological advance that y'all say, he does not pass the European smell test. He's now smelling like somebody else other than European. So now again, some people will say that, he does it, he speculates and da-da-da. Well, that's what thinking people do. That's how you ponder over and think about it, right? And you analyze it, right? You got questions, right? And they don't like you questioning nothing. So here I am questioning about something, and it says, wait a minute, how y'all so quick to deem African and y'all don't know what's in there yet? How do y'all know? Oh, because you said enslave and free slaves. Does slave automatically mean African? That's a question. Does slave mean automatically African? It shouldn't, because everybody here would tell you it was slavery all around the world. So that means that slavery cannot be African only, right? Cannot be. So I want you to see this now. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to this good. Because again, remember today's show is about what? Back to Africa not working. Okay? Back to Africa is not working. So listen to this. All right, listen here. You listen to this, and we'll be right back.
I'm mostly British.
I'm Chinese American.
Also French, German.
I am Mexican, I am Spanish, I am American, and I am Venezuelan.
Half African American.
Teeny tiny trace amount of Nigerian.
Half Puerto Rican.
So far as I know, I'm 100% Irish.
I can trace my ancestry back to bills of sale from slavery.
I'm a New Yorker and an American and the descendant of Eastern European.
Having a blended ancestry is a big part of what defines most of us as Americans. We all know that we're a mix of different cultures and people from other parts of the world. For many Black Americans, charting your ancestry back to a specific country has always been a mystery, and that's a testament to slavery.
The interest is uniform across the human species, but the ability to reconstruct was severely impeded by the transatlantic trade in enslaved Africans. Genetics helps to restore some of the lost information, but we know more about Neanderthals than we know about Africa.
Our fascination with the mixture of cultures and people that make up who we are as products of a country that's a melting pot is a part of why ancestry kits like 23andMe and Ancestry.com are so popular. And answering that question for African Americans of where did we come from revolutionized the way geneticists look at DNA to chart ancestry. And all of that started right here in New York City.
In 1991, construction workers at a federal building site in Tribeca stumbled across human remains from an African burial ground from the 16 and 1700s. Back then, New York was a British colony that relied heavily on chattel slavery. 42% of households owned enslaved people there, making it the largest slaveholding city in North America, second only to Charleston, South Carolina. Africans in New York at the time held on to their culture through burial ceremonies near a lake in what is now Lower Manhattan. When the plot was rediscovered, experts estimated that over 15,000 people were buried there, and almost half of them were children under the age of 12.
Rediscovering the burial ground stirred up a lot of emotions for New Yorkers. It forced them to take a critical look at how slavery played a role in creating the city they know and love today. For descendant communities, it meant that they had an opportunity to have a say in how slavery is memorialized here, and also play a role in the research that's conducted on the remains. Michael Blakey was enlisted as the scientific director to answer some of their questions. And one of their main questions was, where are these people from?
They had a culture all their own before they were brought and enslaved in New York. They wanted to know about those cultures.
The remains were sent to Howard University's Cobb Laboratory, where geneticist Dr. Fatima Jackson started trying to answer some of those questions.
Her team cut open skulls from 419 bodies that were exhumed from the site.
So are there specific parts of different bones that you go to harvest genetic material?
Oh yeah, for the genetic material, the best part is right here. This is the petrous bone. So this kind of triangular shaped bone.
Mm-hmm. How is the DNA right here different from, say, a femur?
It's just that it's more dense. The bone is more dense, so there's more DNA packed into this area. Mm-hmm. And my research group has developed a technique to extract this in about 4 cuts. They mark it, they cut it, and then they pop it out.
Once harvested, DNA from the petrous bone was extracted and compared to a database of samples from humans all around the world, using the exact same process commercial ancestry kits use today to pull DNA from saliva samples. But the results were off.
There were a number of inconsistencies. It seems unlikely that a European would slightly file his teeth, or Native Americans would wear waist beads, be buried with a pipe that is Nigerian. So what we're finding is that, it is certainly possible for the DNA to be wrong.
Up until this point, genetic research primarily focused on trying to figure out mixtures between geographically disparate areas as a proxy for race. So how African are you, or how European are you, or how Asian are you, and how does that show up in your DNA? The problem is, biologically speaking, race doesn't actually exist.
We're just one race. Sapiens is our race, but we're all Homo sapiens sapiens. That second sapiens is actually our racial designation from a biological point of view. All diversity that exists among modern humans exists below the racial level. We've had these notions that are more a product of our political and economic priorities than scientific realities.
No one had ever asked the question that the descendant African American community asked us to ask of our data, which was, what were the origins of essentially African America? So geneticists had never asked that question, and the databases were not set up to answer it.
Shifting the question from how African are you to where in Africa are you from meant that they needed to go back to Africa and collect a more diverse pool of samples.
Dr. Jackson and her team went to Cameroon and set up the very first DNA bank in Africa in order to help bolster their databases.
We would try to tie the genes that we were finding to the ecological setting, and that gave us a roadmap for reconstructing where people in the diaspora had come from.
The burial ground played a huge role in teaching geneticists about both biases in their field and gaps in their catalog of DNA reference points. And in the case of commercial ancestry kits, the picture is still very much so incomplete, especially for descendants of people who were enslaved in America.
So is this the basis of commercial DNA ancestry kits?
The commercial companies do not have continental African database that is needed to make the kind of connections that we have for North Atlantic European ancestry. We're at the beginning stages of understanding the human genome, not at the end stages.
The African burial ground was memorialized in 2007 by the National Park Service, and the monument itself bears the markings of some of the different countries and cultures that have blended together to make our unique ancestry as Black Americans. DNA might not be able to answer all of our questions about where we came from, but it does offer an opportunity to gather more information and reclaim that narrative.
What do you think that means or tells us about what it means to be Black in America?
The commercial tests are beginning to unite Americans in ways that they did not expect. You know, people from ostensibly different ethnic populations who are your relatives because the genes don't really discriminate in that way. They don't care about the color of your hair or the skin color or anything like that. We know that the interpretation of the data has been lacking because of the reference databases being limited. But what genetics forced us as a people, not just African Americans, but all Americans, to confront our own history, and in doing so, we understand ourselves better and the choices that our ancestors may have made that allowed us to exist today.
All right, so let's look at this, right? All right, I know that was a little bit, but again, I go out, I put it together for y'all. I know last week's show was a little bit like, but anyway, I try to come to give y'all what I can, what I see. But anyway, now, let's look at this here. Now, you heard what they said there, right? Now, they're talking about this African burial ground. Now, remember, they found this other one. The first one I showed you was one they found more recently that went back in 2009. This is another one they had found, but this one went back since 1991. Okay, this is one they found back in 1991. And the reason why I'm using this is because before then, according to what they say, there was no way you could trace Indigenous Americans, Indigenous Black Americans, whatever you want to call us, who we know as those who come from the southern parts of this United States, or it wasn't even United States, it was actually some before then, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So listen how they doing this, and the reason again, remember, again, we're going to find out what does African descent mean. I already took you to the Otzi Iceman in Europe, right? Now, they talked about how the mixtures of culture. What does mixtures of culture got to do with your DNA? Ask yourself that question. See, what we do over here, we train some of them who don't know how to listen. Because sometimes people, as much as I talk, I'm a greater listener. You say something, boy, I don't story, put it. You know what I'm saying? Got it locked and low, come at you again if I have to, right? But anyway, the point is teach you how to be a great listener, because that's what you got to also be too. You got to be able to listen to shit. Sometimes it ain't always visual. You got to use your audio, senses and be able to discern and break shit down in there. Listen what she said. Mixtures of culture. What does that got to do with your DNA? Tell me what does that? And melting pot. What does that got to do? Again, we understand the theory of melting pot. Those of us who've been doing this history a long time and know that melting pot had no inclusion with us. Remember about a week or so ago, I told you about the story of the Loving case. It was about the miscegenation case about a white man and a black woman that was trying to be together, went back to Virginia, and because of that law, and then they ended up taking it to the Supreme Court, and that's how they broke the miscegenation law that was still going on. As a matter of fact, in Alabama was still going up into 2000 and I think it was like 2001. You know what I'm saying? Alabama got some real history of this, so that's why it resonated with us so much. It's so deep of history in Alabama, but that's for another time, for another talk. But anyway, so she goes on to talk about that melting pot again. That was about white people again, all of them being from let's say you got France, Germany, Britain, and all of them all coming here after they had separated when they broke camp from up there and got here. And then now they was Voltroning here, but they were still making a distinction between different classes and bloodlines, but it was a place where they could all do it. It had nothing to do with us. But today, when they use the word diversity, now they saying, oh, we are mixing now. So now people take that melting pot to think the inclusion of them. Well, that term meant them in the beginning and not all of us. But anyway, so melting pot could, in this day and age, because at that time they was only mixing amongst themselves, and then there is the parts that we, according to the story they tell us, that people could have had been having relations, whether it was by rape and so forth, consensual and stuff like that. It could have had happened. So there could be some parts of that mixing. But she said, then the question came down, where we come from, right? The question is, where did Black Americans come from? But I thought they already knew the story. I thought they tell us the story. I thought we all knew about 1619, huh? Right? Again, how long have I known? I've been breaking that down. I'm gonna keep doing it. I keep telling you that ain't true. It ain't true. It's not true. So anyway, so accordingly, this burial ground that they found that was up in New York. Now, the two heaviest places populated according to the story that they tell us is New York, and then you got South Carolina, Charleston, right? Those were the two heaviest places of populated of peoples that they called slave or enslaved people, right? When you look at this record that they have kept. And so according to this place that they found in 1991, they said dates to about the 16th, 17th century. So if it's 16th century, that means it had to be 1500 something, correct? 16th century is the century before, right? It's in the 1500s to be called 16, and the 17th century had to be the 1600s, correct? Am I right? Okay, 1500, 1600, okay. And they said that this was under the British colony. Now, if they said 1516, well, in New York though, right? See, when you know your history and when people start talking, you'll know. What do you mean? 1516 in New York. They had Manhattan. That was them? Really? 1516? Remember I told you about the Cento and the contract with the Cento. So, okay, well, whatever they say, right? This is what they say. Now, they go in there and they tell you that, again, this is going to be in New York. And did you hear the number she said? Did you hear the number of people they had in the burials? Did y'all hear how astronomical that was? And then did you hear the kickstand behind it? Did you not hear her say 15,000? 15,000. Oh, that ain't small. 15,000? 15,000. Okay. So they get the dude in there. He come in there. He said, well, you know, the culture they had before they were brought. How do you know who they are to say what they brought? What he did is he gave you, again, I gave it to you so you can hear instead of you seeing it, so you can visualize. He said, oh, they had a pipe, and then he equated the pipe that had to come from in Africa, right? He said these things, right? He said he's not saying no thing, and that they were brought. And then to give you significance of they did do some of the DNA, did you not hear them say 419? They did. Wait a minute. 419 out of 15,000? So 419 of them that you found that was of African genetics. What about the other 14,581? Let me say that one more again. You want to sell me the car, telling me the car, right? I see the sticker price say, okay, the sticker price say 419. But you trying to sell the motherfucker to me for $15,000. Shit. I was born but not yesterday. You understand? I was born but not yesterday. And so I heard 419 out of 15,000. What about the other 14,581? What was their DNA? Oh, we just gonna skip right over that part. We ain't even gonna talk about that. Right? Okay. So they got the genetical material. Right? They extract it, and then they want to start telling now you to see it. They're talking about, oh, we go in this part of the skull, and we cut this here. Like, okay, what's the speech for? What's the whole speech about? We don't care about the process. That process ain't gonna. We need the material information, the data. What did it say? You know, I don't need. Ain't got to make no speech. You remember in what movie was that? Cooley High. You remember when when Preach and Coachy was in the hallway, and Preach couldn't get his off, right? He was up there, she was blocking him. Right? So he like, hey man, you know, man, we finna go. Okay. Yeah, you heard me, man. We about to, hey man, you ain't gotta make no speech, right? Why you trying to block my shit up, right? Leave me to go and do what you gotta do, right? But that's how that was, right? Right? That's how that was, right? So now check this out. If you paying attention, right? So they said they took this genetical material and they took the samples around the world. Why'd you go around the world if you're talking about Africa? Why was the first thing you did is go to Africa with it? What you go to Africa for? I mean, let me rewind that. What do you go around the world for? You didn't go straight to Africa. You saying that Africa's already. Nah, that ain't what you did. You went to go do the samples around the world. Okay. And then they said somehow the results were off. Now could not believe what they originally did the DNA test, and the test had said European. Let me say that again. When they did the test came back in red, European. So they said these tests got to be off. So now they equated to what they found in the burials. That's when you heard about the pipe and all the other stuff, right? But did you hear the little slick stuff? Now, wait a minute. You say that, and then they said that of them that they had, right? Did you hear they said they were babies? All of them was under the age of 12. Do I need to see that again? Now he come back. Wait a minute. You went in there and said it was a pipe. So these babies were smoking a pipe? Or is that something you selling me? See, everything about skin ain't our kin. And sometimes people buy skin because they're in the position they got to do what their boss tell them to do. Go out there and sell that to them for them, right? Now, wait a minute. You got 15,000 bodies down in this burial ground. 419 you did the genetic testing on. The test came back and most of them went to Europe. Well, that ain't good enough. We said, well, wait a minute, that can't be right. Because in the burial ground, they got things that was being equated to the same people like there is that we've seen some in Africa. Oh, really? Okay. All right. So then they say, all right, we're all one race. We're the sapiens, right? So we're going to go to that now. Because why? You still haven't pinpointed what y'all keep trying to say, Africa. You ain't doing that yet. You ain't got to that yet. And so they said they went over to Africa, and then they started finding the DNA in Africa, and then they did what they did to us after they said emancipation. Went into Reconstruction. Those who really know about this game, about this Reconstruction, what did they do Reconstruction? It was taking all our shit, reformulating it, relabeling it, re-legislating it. So here you is telling us, oh, we went to Africa, and we gonna take the DNA that we found that we believed to be similar to, and we're gonna, again, remember I told you my mama was doing puzzles. In order for you to put that picture together, you're going to have to find the DNA of others. You can't just go grab anybody and just say, well, how come you can find a place of origin, but you can't find the damn family? Why you can't find the damn family, but you can find the nation of origin from where you keep claiming we African from? This shit is crazy. But, don't pay no attention to me, right? So they go there, they find it, so they're going to reconstruct the DNA. Reconstruct it? Don't fit like the puzzle? So you're going to reinterpret it. You're going to be the one to sell me that it has to be back over here. Not what it is, but it's the way you're going to reinterpret it, because who you work for? Who that signature on your check at the bottom? Who name on there? Who name on the bottom of that damn check? That's who telling you to do that, right? That's who telling you to do that. Okay, but anyway, and then as the ending of the video, it says that they did a last truth. The enslaved, they're the hardest to find. I wonder why. Why is the enslaved in America, in the United States, or the place we may say Turtle Island, some call it Turtle Island, North America, why is his the hardest to find anywhere outside of here? Maybe because he already here. Let me say that one more again. Why are you saying that it's the hardest to find when you try to take it outside of here to go somewhere else? You took it around the world trying to find it there. You went into Africa trying to find it. Well, we're going to reconstruct it. We're going to make sure it fit in here. But it can't be because maybe it was already here. Why is that the hardest thing why is that the hardest thing for people to understand? Why everybody, okay, wait, if you know the greatest damn lie that ever told, the lies of all lies, why would he tell the truth? And why do you believe everything that he tells you? We know a lot of you work for him. Now you pay your check to him. I mean, allow him, he pay his check to you. So whatever he say, you know, like Eddie Murphy will come into a man, whatever you like, whatever you like. Even though girls get whatever you like, you gonna do it. Whatever you like, whatever you like. Okay, so whatever, that's what it is, right? So that's kind of funny, right? That they did that, right? Right? So I said, wait a minute, hold on. All right. So they're gonna do this. They take the test. Okay. All right. Now, because you gotta think about it like this. Have you ever asked yourself why they always say West Africa? Why they always say West Africa? Is it because of something they know? Because there is something they can use. If you know history, there is something they know that they created and set up. And when you look at that history, even when they try to put you back in there, they don't actually say you African. They say the same words like when they people came here, settlers, colonies. Well, that don't sound like a motherfucker repatriating as an African. It sounds like somebody who's foreign being put back on a foreign land under a foreign title, settle, colony. Tell me if I'm wrong or am I right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, right? Colony and settler don't sound like somebody repatriating back to their natural origin. So that means somebody already knows the game. They already know what the game is, but they got to sell it. They got to keep selling it, right? So let's look at history. 1816, they made the American Colonization Society, correct? But there were other groups other than that American Colonization Society. And when you go back and look at Lincoln, then they take some of our people, take them to Haiti. Then they were trying to shop us in South and Central America and other places. Matter of fact, I think in what's the other side of Haiti? What's they called? Domingo. What's they call them? Domingo. I know what the hell it is. It's on my tongue. But y'all know what I'm talking about, right? The other side of Haiti, which is the same damn shit. They split it in two, right? They're trying to send us over there too, but the deals went shit. People went up there, got sick, and they let them to come back. Why did they let them come back then? Right? When you go back and you read it, you see that, right? So, okay. With that being said, did y'all? Let me show you something that you may not have known. For those who may not know, did you know? Let me show you something. Did you know this? Did you know this? A century ago, Mississippi Senate voted to send all the state black people to Africa. Let me say that one more again. A century ago, Mississippi Senate voted to send all the state black people to Africa. Did you know that? Did you know that? And guess who? According, if you do this research, there are going to be some people who are going to be upset with me. I'm the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Been going on doing this for 12 years. You ain't heard of me because they've been suppressing my ass the whole time. And since I did that video April 1st, 2014, I call it the extinction of the white race. I was that bold. The extinction of the white race approaching. I didn't say we were going to kill them or nothing. I told you the baby boom bust. I'm the first one to tell y'all what that was, that now a lot of y'all now saying that, but you don't know where it came from. Here's where it started from. And I ain't been heard from since. That went 300,000. Back in the day, you didn't go 300,000 in the damn corner. And they cut that off, suppressed me, and I've been here ever since. You don't know, you better ask somebody. Anyway, so with that being said, you know who, according, if you go there and you read this, as I'm going to show you, you know who was they had just setting it up with that? You know who that is? Y'all know who that is, right? I ain't got to make no speech. You know who that is, right? Oh, shit. You done went there? You done went there. Oh, boy, you done met, you know you done fucked up though, right? You know you done fucked up though, right? Huh? You done fucked up, right? Right? So anyway, all right, so let me tell you what they said in this article. Let me tell you what they said, right? They said that in this story that they went, now check this out. Mississippi had went and voted. Now, when you go try to find that record, they so ashamed of that shit. You'll go in there and you try to go on that gov.com and look up them records, because you know over here, that's what we do. We show you that, right? Everybody be talking about, oh, you gonna be talking over source. Yes, I do. But anyway, so you go do that, and what you gonna find, there's a big ass gap. You go in there, it'll take you to 1800 all the way back, and then you go up, and then once you get to about 1900, you're gonna get a gap between 1900 and they're gonna jump to about 1950. They will not take you into that 1920, that 30, because I want to see what the hell did they say to say they were voting to take us back. I want to see what they said. They will not show it. So the only way you're gonna get it is through this article. Okay? The only way you're gonna get it is through this article. Now let me go ahead and get into this article real quick. Let me show what they said up in here. Okay? Now, again, this ain't no shade. This is what it is. Because, see, a lot of people come in here, and there's some people who like to throw people in our face, and they think that we as indigenous Americans, Indigenous, Niji, more, you know, we got all kind of damn names. But we all family when it's all said and done. All them who think because I don't call the same name that we ain't family, when you get done with all that, we still going to be family no matter how you call it. Till we get unison on that, everybody call what they got to do to be what they is until they get there. It's not about who start the rate first. It's like we all get this. Some of us ain't got patience for everybody else. Some of us say, let them die. Well, you want to be the only nigga on Mars with them if you want. That's your business, not me. I want as many as we can get that come with us. I got the patience. Come on over here. I got the patience for you. Anyway, now check this out. Check this out. All right. Let me show you something right here. Let me show you something here, right? Now, let me go ahead because I got a little bit. Hold on. Let's take a. Let's take a. Hold on. Let's take a quick break. Quick break. This ain't gonna take but a second. Let me. Like I said, this up over here. Yeah, let's do this. Right back.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
It's you.
We are back, right? We are back. Right now. So again, 100 years ago, they were talking about the time when they did this. It said the Mississippi State Senate voted to evict the state black resident. Evict. You know what I'm saying? Like eviction. I don't know how many of y'all have been through that process, right? Go to court, trying to fight that, trying to get that estate, trying to get that delay, trying to prevent that damn sheriff from coming, right? Here they is voted to do what? Send the indigenous of Mississippi, not one little county, not the city of the state out of the country. You know that Senate voted 25-9. That go back to February 20th, 1922. Like I said, if you go look it up, you can't find. They're so ashamed of that. They don't want that find. They won't find it. This is the only way you're gonna get it now. So it was the federal government asked to trade some of the work. Now this is what they did. This is what they were going to. This is how what they were going to do is they had went to World War I, and based on them being in World War I, those European nations owed them for part of the debt for them being part of it. So the United States was like, well, you know what? How about this? We got this state of Mississippi with these Negroes, because you know basically Mississippi got the majority of us in it, right? I think it got the biggest population of us in it, if I'm not mistaken, right? And they said, well, we want to take this state of niggas we got here, and we want to find them a home. And now you got to remember, they did the carving of Africa in 88, 85, somewhere around there, right? So in 22, you know, that World War I, you know, they fighting, you know, niggas hungry, trying to get in that work. But anyway, and so they was like, well, how about this? Why don't y'all give us some of that land y'all got over there? Huh? You know, some of that land y'all got over there? We'll take that. But what was probably they were saying that some of those southern planters in them, they was like, well, what the hell we gonna do? We ain't gonna have no workers, right? If you take them, what we gonna do? You'll put us out of business. So a lot of them was in opposition to it. So the ones that ended up passing was all white Mississippi legislators. They was the ones that came out and they believed that they said that we could not get no kind of racial equality if they stayed here. But again, there was those plantation owners. They were fearing that they would lose that cheap, and when they say brutal labor, what the hell would they know? They ain't do shit. And again, all that story don't mean that means everyone, again, because we got to figure out again, who is that African they keep talking about? Because there's different people here. You got American Indian. Again, if you go to 1924, you see what they said about that what they call that act, with that, what's the name? That Plecker, what he made in 1924, and you'll see that it says American Indian, the Malay Indian. You'll see they talk about the Mongolians, right? So mugs know who they is, and then they also got Negro and they got Caucasian, right? Right, and I think they also had like Malaysian or something like that too. So they got these. Matter of fact, shit, I think I could. Hold on, do I got it in here? Hold on, y'all, hold on. I talk about. I think I should. I think I took that out. I took that out there. I think I took that out. Yeah, I took that out. Yeah, I took. Wait, did I take it out? Hold on. No, yeah, I took that out. All right, so I took that out. So I can't show y'all that. I can put it back in, but anyway. So here they saying they had a few black supporters, black separatists who preferred to move to Africa, right? Over the violence and abuse that they said that was being faced by our peoples in the Jim Crow Mississippi. Now, Jim Crow basically was just what they do is home rule, right? When you understand real estate, they do home rule. I think it's like what 75,000. Then what they do, they corner off, make this district here, and they be governing their own government inside of a government, and they was able to have us in unincorporated areas, and they would disenfranchise us, not able us to do it. That's what they did. That's really what Jim Crow really is, right? So what you'll do if you go try to search for this, it's called Senate Concurrent Resolution number 21, but you won't find it. What you're gonna find something that come up in 2022, 23. They're hiding this. It was written by Senator Tory George and McAllen, and it was another former mayor in Laurel Jones County. And so this is what they did. So the McCullen was deeply engaged in the institution of slavery himself, and the Tory, his grandfather had, according to him, had enslaved 51 people. Now again, enslaved don't necessarily mean African. Right? It don't mean African. When people say slave and enslaved, it don't mean African. Because when you read the history, you see that who's indentured and all that stuff. Honestly, it ain't got nothing to do with. It's not necessarily. It's not that. And again, there's some of our people will tell you that you can't find none of that in our background, but they say you do, right? So let me show you how we're gonna get to your man that I showed you up there, right? Let me show you how we get to that, how we get to him. All right, so so they said the spirit of the race consciousness had grown with the post-war increase of nationalistic feelings worldwide. So after that World War I, just like what happened after what we did in Alabama and how that nationalistic feeling resonated, well, after World War I, after they did what they did, that's how they came back home feeling. That's why when you go back and you do the history between 1917, 1919, you see these riots happening because our people coming back. Matter of fact, about a couple shows back, remember I showed y'all that Booker T. Washington's assistant, it slips my mind what his name is, but he was part of the Black Spy Network, the original Black Spy Network. That's before you get COINTELPRO, before you get that Mossy and New, you got the Black Spy Network that was created, right? And his man was there. He was one of them. So it's ironic that, remember, Marcus Garvey is supposed to come hook up with Booker T. Washington, but Booker T. Washington dies, right? And so he come here, right? Anyway, pay attention, right? And so, so they said, now here they was after having this nationalistic feelings, feeling good about themselves. And so now they want to settle this final question they got at home called the Negro question. The Negro question. You know, they've been their problem ever since so-called emancipation, right? That was their problem, the Negro problem. Matter of fact, around that time, they called it the Negro scare. They didn't know what was going to happen if we release. Now, again, you know, when you do your due diligence and get in there and read, you got to know who is who. Not everybody who you think they is. You got to figure out what group of people is who and where's such and this and that. And then the story will, you know, have more understanding to you than it just being a general story that everybody take as one. That's why the importance of you getting in there and reading the story for yourself is pertinent. So at the time you got Warren G. Harding, that I remember I had a book called The 5 Black Presidents, and they had Warren G. Harding as a black president, right? They called Abraham Lincoln, Warren G. Harding, I think Calvin Coolidge, and two more, right? They had in there, they supposed to have, I don't know whether they had piece of black in them, whether they were passing as, you know, white, I don't know, but he was one of them. But anyway, he was up at that time. And so they inquired of him about a treaty, a negotiation, and that they wanted him to petition to them to say if they could go to the continent of Africa and make suitable, equitable place for us to send the Negroes there. Okay, Warren G. Harding. Okay, so they had this big old idea. This is what they were going to do. They set it up, then passed it, all that stuff. So they were trying to get him to sign off on it. They were trying to get Warren G. Harding to sign off on it. And so let me show you something here. Let me show you something, right? So you're saying, well, how does that individual get into this play? Well, you had the 1920 census, they said that 52% of the state population of Mississippi was of our people. And so during the Reconstruction, the majority had sent, again, we had 3 people who supposed to have represented us in Congress. And supposedly Mississippi sent about 60 to state legislators. They had, according when you read this history. But then you had the white violence happening to us in 1870, 1880. And then there was the passage of this new Constitution of 1890. and this took effect, which is going to now disenfranchise our people. This is what they say, right? Now this they story, right? This our story. Now some people have a problem and say we need to read our own damn story, and while we following these people, do our own. Wait a minute. I don't know, should I say this or not? When you play sports, let me use this analogy. When you play sports, like say you hoop, right? Even if you play football, right? Maybe so much in baseball, maybe because you might telltale sign when the motherfucker who like to steal bases, right? You watch film, you study, try to find the telltale signs. Even if I guess you play poker, some motherfucker do certain moves and shit, right? So you study your opponent, right? Right? You study your opponent. Knowing you, that's fine. But in this competition, when you have competition in an opponent to be an efficient, good, great player, you know your opponent well. I'm gonna say it to you like that, right? I'm gonna just say it like that. Okay. So again, like I say, you got the Red Summer 1919, and then they talk about the birth of this whole thing with this Ku Klux Klan, which really a lot of that is just basically what? Taking a lot of our damn land, right? They did that march in Washington, D.C., right? Where they go up there and do that march up there, right? Because why? Because somebody in the background is having a conversation with somebody, and he like, well, shit, well, they not gonna ever do right. He goes, the same thing like when you read with Lincoln. Lincoln said, well, they ain't never gonna be treated right, they're never gonna be equal here. So the best thing to do is try to find them another place for them to go. And so that's why they were shopping some to Haiti, some into trying to send them to South Central America, send them back to Sierra Leone, Liberia, right? And stuff like that. But then you see that some of our people, there was the scheme, because you remember before Garvey, 100 years before Garvey, you had Paul Kufi? Paul Kufi did the Back to Africa, and guess who Paul Kufi was fucking with? He was fucking with the colonization society, right? And then that motherfucker that was at that, the African Methodist Church, was a preacher. He was with them too. So I said, wait a minute. All right. So 1922, you see them out there, they doing this, and in the background, they got correspondent letters, and they saying, hey, if you get these people to sign this petition, now let me show you something. They was out there now, when they talk all this bragging about somebody, talking about he had 200,000 people. Well, if you look at it, they said that they told him if he can get 200,000 signatures, they would fund his Back to Africa. They funded for him. Yeah, they funded for you, right? That's what we want. They always wanted this to be a white country. They just couldn't figure out how the hell to get us up out of here. This has been the agenda for 207 years counting. That's what they mad about. Because now you want to keep selling you Africa. Again, when I told you about when I showed you that Mike Huckabee told you that the law of the land still is with the Dred Scott case is that once you claim Africa, descendant of African, you ain't got no rights in here at all. So it's funny how everybody, first thing they throwing us, Africa. I guess so. I guess you are throwing that on us. You trying to put us in the box. Right? So now that you see the spirit of us coming out and saying, no, that ain't us. This who we is. And so you see a lot of our brothers and sisters out here who really doing the extensive work. Again, I do history. I'm not very extensive into all of that, but I know and I will present over here, right? But my forte is, again, I told you, as like sports. That's my forte. I'll study the opponent. You come to me for the opponent. Y'all do what y'all do, young brothers, sisters. I'm watching you. I'm taking some notes, and I'll come present it for my little corner once in a while. I hear you. I see you. We family. Get it? So don't be all that. It's, look at this as many different ways we coming at a motherfucker. We got different angles, like in chess. We coming at all kinds of different angles. Then you better figure out which way I'm coming for our check. Before we check you, checkmate you. Oh, we coming, y'all. We coming. And people feeling it. And people reacting. That's what you're seeing, a lot of reaction. Because now, all of them who've been against and trying to put us in that box, and we done took that up, you know what I'm saying? You done came up out that move. You done came up out of that double chicken wing, like in wrestling, right? You done came up out of that. Now they ain't got nothing for you. Because now everything is unraveling itself. Because why? You in there digging. They said digging for gold, buried treasure. And what you find it, motherfucker can't refute it. The story's coming unraveled. Motherfucker don't want to talk about the damn history because he knows it's a damn lie. Get it? Why that damn Ron DeSantis can't talk about that damn history? Because what? It predates 1619. Why would he ever start talking about that? That unravels the lie. Unravels it. So here it is. Somebody who they like throwing in our damn face. And we know why they do it. We're not going to say that, okay, it's like asking, well, what did you do? Taking us trying to back to Africa? And you got to ask yourself, again, back when Paul Kufi and them was trying to take us back, and then our people went and protested to say there was a scheme, that they were trying to scheme us. Who was that? Who was that telling them they keeping us from going so that we didn't go to Liberia and Sierra Leone? Our people went out there and fought. Just like if they said, if he did, let's say, for instance, he was working with them people to try to take us back. Who was the one that tripped him up and got him with a fraud case and got his ass up out here to leave us the fuck alone? Who was that? You understand? Because if they wanted it, we'd have been gone. If that would have been the case. But something keeps saying now. Because that ain't us. We already home. We already at home. It just had to become a consensus amongst us. Because see, you got some people in here, and this is the thing. There's a lot of people in amongst us who know damn well they ass, and this ain't like being divisive. This is just truth. This ain't about being divisive. A lot of y'all know damn well y'all not the people from here in the history of the people from here. And y'all put your 2 cents in it. You say a lot of shit you ain't supposed to be saying. You try to get in here and debate and argue with us to tell us who we not. How dare y'all? How dare y'all do that? How dare do y'all do that? So it's like you working on the other side. And it's like you got an ulterior motive. And we know that. So now the little sly shit is y'all throw people in our face like we don't know. You throw Marcus Garvey in our face because Marcus Garvey ain't one of us. They throw Malcolm and then they say his mama to try to take away from us. Y'all throw Farrakhan because you know Farrakhan ain't one of us. It ain't like we not family when we talk about our brawl. When we see how y'all do what y'all do, we discern it. Just some of them ain't as articulate enough to say it. You get it? We peep it, but we keep it. We try to keep it. We try to keep it civil. But sometimes being nice, motherfucker take advantage of it, and then start getting bold, and then saying in the back of your corners and y'all, right? It's like the hip hop thing and everything. Like, come on, all right. We peeping it. It's okay. It's all right. But see, something else is governing this. Let's see, if it was supposed to be all that what they say, Back to Africa ain't working. Never worked. Won't gonna ever work. So why y'all steady pushing it? Why those who keep pushing it ain't showing by example? Go first. You see what's gonna transpire over there? What about all them y'all done had led them over there? And what they about to make go through, they didn't see that coming. But some of us been telling them, don't take your ass over there. you so lapdoggish, what they call it? What they call that syndrome? Captive bondage syndrome for somebody who, again, originally the story they told you, if he did that to you, matter of fact, go ask somebody who come from abusive mama and daddy, and then they run away, and then talk about trying to take them back. They ain't trying to go back. You understand? They're going to have to try and entice them, and we're going to be better, and right? No, you gotta go back to my ancestry. That your ancestry right here. You can't name an ancestor. You ain't got no name over there. You got no name. Making up names on Kalunda. What the fuck is that? It means this. Who named you that? You did? All right, whatever, man. But anyway, let me get back to this, right? let me get back to this, right? But that's what it is, man. It's like it's crazy because it's happening too damn much, and it's like, okay, it's dead now, y'all. If you want to go, go. Other people are going to do what? They're gonna sit there. This battle heal. This they heal. This the hill they gonna go. If they're gonna go here. Now that you may know, let's say you're trying to figure out and say, wait, this is your square. This is it. This is all it's ever been. You're more inclined to defend again castle doctrine. You're more willing to do castle doctrine than to go somewhere else and still feel like I ain't home. But you keep psychologically telling yourself something that you wish to be, something somebody kept telling you, mantratizing you, hypnotizing you, keep saying it enough to the fact that you say, okay, I must be. And you never, if I ask you, what make you believe that that's the origin of man? What? Because somebody told you that? You got a limit on, let's say, if you believe in the Most High. There's a limit to the Most High. The Most High only had to start right there with two people, Adam and Eve. That was the only one. Funny how it was a consensus that you go to all the other ones when they did the Nicene Council Creed, 323, I think it was, right? And they put all them together, and this is going to be the story. So when you got the whole story flushed up, well, how come all the rest of them got, because you don't know about the Nicene Council 323? But then we talk, it's like we ain't got no records that go before them. We've been on playing longer than them. We just systematically been gutting that all out, so we don't got no recollection of nothing. So the only thing we got is what they told us. So that's what they told you. Told you Lucy, and you see a whole bunch of black people in this one area. We must have came from there first. Landlocking us. Everywhere in. We everywhere. Everywhere he archaeologically dig, everywhere he find us. That's how I just said in the beginning. Was Otzi Iceman, right? Otzi. O-T-Z-I Iceman. Supposed to be the European, come to find out the shit. He a nigga. Huh? See, wake y'all ass up. Wake your ass up out of that shit. Y'all fall asleep for that damn bullshit, man. Anyway, let me get back to this. A little bit. I'm already at the 2-hour mark. So let me go. So let me show this how Marcus Garvey got into this. Right? This is what they say now. This is again, you go in there, see that, you'll see yourself. I ain't make this up. And some people, they don't want to accept it. Because again, why? Because they use him to put their flag over us. It's kind of like telling us we never produce anybody great. And the ones that they put great, they still see they can't say that with King, but with Malcolm, they try to go through his mama. See, he not going his mama, right? Another thing, they're all trying to, just like they're doing with the hip hop. They're going in there. Look who the three pillars is. It's this cat from Panama, this cat from Dominican, right? Wait a minute, damn. How y'all getting this and y'all ain't got no music that even get a nigga to move? Look at this Afro beat shit. You ain't no, that shit can't compete. Fuck all that with the damn hip hop shit, nigga. We got, man, do you know our catalog so goddamn big? Y'all, everybody want to dethrone our ass because our shit so damn deep. show the progression. If you understand how development happens, y'all supposed to show the progression how you got there. You don't just wake up one day y'all doing, I don't even know what the hell they were doing before then. If that's the best y'all got, and y'all been here, and you supposed to say y'all the beginning, and that's the best y'all got, man, y'all can't compete. And this ain't again. It's just again, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is yours. We just claiming our own shit. Why everybody got a problem with us claiming our own shit? Why I got a problem with it? It's funny how people say there'll be Black American, African American to get us all inclusive, and then in the back part of the voice will be like, "But I'm Trinidadian or Caribbean or Jamaican." You get to have your own personal shit, but we don't get to have our own shit. Let me say that one more again for those slow in the back. You ever notice that sometimes people they'll be talking about African American, Black American as a group, and they include themselves in it, knowing damn well they somebody else. And then in that same second breath, they claim their other shit, they have something separate behind the same shit they trying to claim in. But you can't have your own. Everybody said, you have to be African. Selfish. Selfish. Very selfish. Let's move on. So, according to this article, Garvey was becoming known for seeking strange bedfellows in the quest for Black autonomy abroad. They say he was getting strange bedfellows. I mean, he was messing with some people that you like questionable. According said, now again, you can go read this article. He went to the offices. They said the resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan that came up in Atlanta, and he had a cordial meeting with the Imperial Wizard Edward Young Clark. A lot of Black folks was ticked off when he did that. Got in the newspaper, Black leaders and that, the whole thing went down. And some of them were saying, well, he was under indictment on charges of mail fraud at that time. And so he may have been motivated to carry the favor with white officials. They said, because you know how sometimes you cut a deal. Now, why don't you, like in 5 Heartbeats when the police pulled them over, or where y'all supposed to be, singing group? Why don't you sing for me? So they gave him an offer to help him, right? According to what they say. But let me show you what was posted in here. Let me throw this on the screen. Let you see this here. Let me show you what somebody had put in here. Let me see if that's the right one. Let's see. That the right one. Let's put that up there for y'all to see that. Let's see. Yeah, let's go with that one first, right? Let's see. Go with that one first. I think that's the first one. All right, let's see. Okay. In the face, however, of the unbelievable death of debasement and humiliation to which this demagogue has descended in order to keep himself out of jail, it is our duty to say openly and clearly, Marcus Garvey is without doubt the most dangerous enemy of the Negro race in America and in the world. He is either a lunatic or a traitor. He is sending all over this country tons of letters and pamphlets appealing to congressmen, businessmen, philanthropists, educators to join him on a platform whose half-concealed plank may be interpreted as follows: that no person of Negro descent can ever hope to become an American citizen, that forcible separation of the races and the banishment of Negroes to Africa is the only solution of the Negro problem. That race war is sure to follow any attempt to realize the program of the NAACP. We would have refused to believe that any man of Negro descent could have fathered such a propaganda if the evidence did not lie before us in black and white, signed by this man. Here's a letter in part and a symposium sent to one of the most prominent businessmen of America and turned over to us. We select but a few phrases. The italics are ours. Do you believe the Negro to be a human being? Do you believe the Negro entitled to all the rights of humanity? Do you believe that the Negro should be taught not to aspire to the highest political positions in government of the white race, but to such position among his own race in government in his own? Let me get the second part. Okay, I got a message here. Who sent me a message here? Let me see here. Aboriginal. Okay, let's see. All these go to Africa dudes love Marcus Garvey. Exactly. That's their man. That's their man, right? That's their man there, right? Now again, when you do work, you do work. What we have to say now in this day and age is that a pipe dream now. Because see, everybody telling us, but ain't nobody leaving and many coming. Right? Well, now it's a lot of them trying to get the hell out of here, but you know what I'm saying, right? So, but I got a little bit more of that with that, but let me knock this out right quick. So here's the second part to this. Say, would you help morally or otherwise to bring about such a possibility? Do you believe that the Negro should be encouraged to aspire to the highest industry and commercial positions in the countries of the white man in competition with him and to his exclusion? Do you believe that the Negro should be encouraged to regard and respect the rights of all other races in the same manners as other races would respect the rights of the Negro? The pamphlet includes one of the worst articles recently written by a Southern white man advocating the deportation of American Negroes to Liberia. Several articles by Garvey and his friend. From one of Garvey's articles, we abstract one phrase. The white race can best help the Negro by telling him the truth and not by flattering him into believing that he is as good as any white man. Not even Tom Dixon or Bill Tillman or the hatefulest enemies of the Negro have ever stopped to a more vicious campaign than Marcus Garvey. Now, again, we don't know if this is propaganda. We don't know if they did, because again, you know, when you go back in time in history, you know, they was intercepting and doing letters back and forth and made people get in it. So this could be something that could be set up there, or this could be factual. Okay, that's my disclaimer. Those who may be, but again, did he do that? Was that about it? Because you got to ask yourself it again. If all being said, like you have a lot of people who advocate and push it, just like Black Aboriginal knowledge say. A lot of them advocate. He's their hero. This is their man. This is the guy that they put in front of us and make him the forefront evil over all lives. When it was said and done, when they was saying, again, they said they deporting him out of here. Why would the first place you go be to Europe? Why not go to Africa? Why isn't that everybody here to tell us? Everybody come here to tell us to leave here. And then when it's time for them to go, they don't go there. It's people who leave, from the islands, they could go that way. They come here, right? Again, love our brothers and sisters, right? But we just got to tell it like it is, y'all. It's not about hating or divisiveness. And those who down with us, we cool with you, right? Vice versa is good. We're just saying. A lot of people have been trying to get us to get up out of here. We don't understand that. And yet, very slow at them. And when you look at the numbers, matter of fact, I think I can show y'all the numbers. Look at these places. It would be a lot easier for y'all to file up. Hold on, let me hold it. Take this one. Let me throw this over there. I think I got it in here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna upload this right quick. Put that in there and let me show you. Cause see, oh, hold on, wait, I got it right here. I don't gotta do that shit. I got it right here. Hold on. Now look at this. Right, look on your screen there. Right, look at these populations. Right, I want to tell because I want to show y'all something else too about when it comes to who is a Negro, what is African descent. Now. Look at those numbers. I went and did that because those are actual factual numbers coming up out of. Now, in the world, you see them, the numbers on the left? That's how they rank in the world as a nation. Okay? I don't have the United States in there, but the United States got 330 million plus people, right? We know our numbers is about 40 to 50 and maybe higher than that. But you see, Brazil got 216,422,446 on my side here. Right? They rank 7th in the world as in population. Okay? This is in Americas. Right? 200 million people in Brazil. How many of them are African? How many of them there they considered to be African and African descent? Right? That's a question, right? Colombia, right? Is Colombia in the Americas? Right? 52,085,168. Canada is in America, right? Venezuela, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Honduras, El Salvador, Panama, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, Bahamas, Belize, Guadeloupe, right? And it goes lower, lower, lower. And there's all these. So, but look at the numbers. Look at Jamaica. They ain't got 3 million people. Trinidad ain't got barely 1.5 million. Bahamas barely got 400,000. Believe you understand? So other than Brazil, Colombia, we'd be the third largest. We'd be the third largest in America, if not the second. Because again, it's depending on of that 52 million of Colombia, how many of them are considered Africans? What they say, right? Right? They say. But I want to show you something. What they say. What the hell is really African descent? I want you to see what they say. But again, what the Garvey part is, did he have his hand part in that? Because I want you to look at it this way too. That was the physical take us back to Africa. Now remember, I showed you the Otzi Iceman. Remember, it was about DNA, and then I took you to the burials that they found in New York in the parking lot, and then another burial ground they had over 15,000. Talked about the DNA in it, right? And then in that last one that I showed you, I want to show you how they transformed from trying to take us from the physical that now they're selling you from a scientific way to get you to buy into it. Oh, did y'all see that? Did you catch that? That's how they're doing it now. See, we can't do it because Marcus Garvey blew up. That was over with when they put the, the fraud in the boat and the, and all that. And so they couldn't get nobody to try that no more. Right? You can't do that no more because black folks won't put about it. And the thing is too, how big was Garvey's movement when he come to this country? They'll tell you that number, but as I told you, that 200,000 was part of the petitions he needed to get to go back to for them to fund. And so people be hearing that he had that numbers, but where did that number really come from? Where could he hold a place that got 200,000 people at? Where was 200,000 people gonna come? Oh, when they showed, I guess again how propaganda worked, because does anybody here got any relative to say they seen when they were out there? Did anybody had any family members that was out there that could say they seen 200,000 people? Where else could you hold them at? What venue was that at? Where would you keep 200,000 people to have hear you, whether it be weekly, monthly? Where was you holding this place at? So again, one thing I did find was about the petition of getting the people that would be voluntarily taking themselves back over on the boat. So did they use that number to solidify and say he had 200,000 followers and just how amazing that would be in that day? And here the Nation of Islam at that time, what number did they have? Do you not think that the Nation of Islam with Malcolm in New York wouldn't have galvanized? No, maybe not. Okay. But then the split happened, right? And so whatever happened after that split, it damaged the group, right? And then Elijah Muhammad dies, and it just been splintered, and it never really, it's like Humpty Dumpty never was put back together again, right? So my thing is, was it really this? And again, in being in New York, you talking about in that particular time, you're talking about what they call the Great Migration is happening. You got a lot of our people coming out of the South, moving into New York, going into Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore. We going all around. So is he catching them as they coming across? We don't know. I don't know nobody. Do anybody know anybody who's of that time or that era? But they sure sell it to us. And you know they're going to be mad because you question it. It's not trying to take it away, just okay, what it is. But see, I see the slickness in some of the things that some people saying they kind of put themselves over our people and greatest sub. And wait a minute, hold on, man. We got, again, our catalog is long on anything y'all want to talk about. You know, like playing spades. Nigga, we ain't talking about, we ain't got no possibles over here. Nigga, we got all books we can count. We ain't talking about possibles. Y'all talking about possibles. And they weak at that. So, you know what I'm saying? But people, they get up in our face with it. They getting down to the point, they boiling this down, trying to find somebody. Oh, no, that person said they was this. Like, damn, boy, it's getting this. Y'all thirsty. But at home, pull them from at home, not from here, at home. Yeah, start from home. Yeah, anyway, I got a message here. Hold on. I got a message here. It said, other way around, bro. He the other way around. You know what I'm saying? He the other way around. That's all it is. And the thing is, when it comes to that organization, was these people ever a part of that, or that you just get to claim that? Yeah, think about it. Is there really an organization that they come out of, or they just get to claim the ideology and say they're part of the organization? You get what I'm saying? So nobody get to get checked on when it comes to that, because they say, hey, I'm with it. This is what I'm pushing. That's fine. Everybody entitled to that's fine. Anyway, I get average. I get you. I caught that message you sent too about what you did. Don't go start no shit, Ab. Don't start shit. We're over there looking for that lady blocking you and shit. I read that. But anyway, okay, so let me get into this. So again, did he have strange bedfellows? Was he doing that? It's possible, right? Again, Paul Coopy did it. Other people were doing it too. Mississippi was trying to do it. So they were trying to find people that could be charismatic and so forth, who would send that message and get us to go. Their ideology is that they want this, again, like you see that I was showing on the screen with them numbers. When you go look at the population of the world's population of countries, you'll see that the biggest probably hold of white people is right here, y'all. And what's going on? If this is supposed to be the biggest hub of them, right? When you look at them other nations and see their numbers, I'm telling you, everything ain't glitter, ain't gold. That's why everybody becoming honorary check the boxings. Because them numbers is a little inflated, right? So if that be the case, now they all, again, that's why the continent gonna be in trouble, because they need a place where they can bunker down and control all this shit. So what they think gonna happen? And then that same person you talking about is advocating saying, if we don't do something, they put the onus on us. Say, if we don't do something, and if the continent fall, it's our fault. Let me say that one more again. That person said that if we, as again, Indigenous Americans or pretendians or whatever they call us, if we don't go back and we don't be the front line, and if it fall, it's our fault. God damn, boy, everybody put the onus on us. We supposed to be just the world's rug. Walk on us, do what you like, shit on us, piss on us, and then ding, ring the bell, come over here, serve me, give me all you got, and then go over there and fight my fight for me too. Y'all crazy, man. Just ain't nobody gonna tell y'all straight up. Y'all crazy. But nobody gonna tell you. See, everybody, like strange bedfellows. Again, it's not saying we hate no. No, man. Sometimes it is what it is. Y'all know what it is. Sometimes motherfuckers think they smarter than us too. Because everybody like a lot of those stereotypes to be true. So when they run up on you, then some of y'all be telling them, "Oh, you're not like the ones I think that." Oh, don't try to stroke my damn head. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, as men, some will go, you have an afro, motherfucker won't try. Hey, you don't touch a black man's head. What's wrong with you? Don't do shit like that, right? Anyway, so let me move on, right? I done held here too long. So anyway, so accordingly, he was making deals, according to what they say, that's what they wrote, that he made deals. And some of our people that was advocating at that time didn't like it. And so the Mississippi Colonization Society, you ever heard of that? The Mississippi Colonization Society created the Mississippi in Africa. There was a Mississippi in Africa. They went and got some land and called it Mississippi in Africa. And they was trying to send our people over there to the Pepper Coast. Yeah, man, they've been working, trying to get us up out of here for a long time, y'all. So I don't need to elaborate too much more of that because that is what it is. It's possible, very likely, that it happened. And, that's up to them. Now, they can say that they're lying again. You can hold them accountable for writing that. I know that the stuff when it comes to the Mississippi Colonization Society, that's true. Now, as into the documentation and the back and forth that they present and say that happened between Marcus Garvey and the individuals that was part of the Mississippi Colonization Society, I don't know if those documents are fabricated or is it propaganda. But when we look at it, it's always possible that people could be, again, think about it. A lot of the people that's in positions today are not our people. They're other people's. It seems like there's a little pattern in that they get other people to be in position that we should be in, and we come to find out they're not us. Again, we know in the game, if you're going to play black and white, all blacks on the same team and all whites on the same team, if you play that game. But when you boil it down to, because sometimes what happens is people who get, let's say, put in positions of some prominence, they don't got no problem telling you who they is then. Oh, they ain't got no problem telling you ass, I'm this who I am. And you be like, damn, I never knew that person was that. Till that fell out, right? But then when it's some bad shit, and then they put it in the press, they allow it to go in our box unchecked. And everybody say, oh, the black people, the black, all the black, it get generalized black, which means really us. And we'd be like, is that us? Some of us don't get to that point. We don't even get to the level we're thinking that because, everybody is the same. And sometimes people are doing shit in our credit and letting us have to clean their credit up on shit they doing. And I don't think it's fair. It's kind of like the same thing like, really right now, people were saying that, hip hop is ran by other people. It was started by other people. It wasn't started by you or us. You know what I'm saying? So some people think it's a waste of our time to stamp our claim on shit, but we done had so much stolen, they say they don't see the benefit in it. No, the benefit is what's ours is ours. If it's ours, it's ours. You don't get you can say you're a participant of it, but you don't get the claim because our catalog shows the development where it can come from. You have to pull out your catalog to show us how do you get to that. You don't just get to that. And then they'll tell you that, let's say, a Pygmy Markham, and even here I showed them a brother that was back in 1939 who was rapping the Chain Gang song he was making. They'll tell you that's not hip hop. I mean, you got to crawl before you walk, right? Y'all just think that shit, you come right up out the womb and the motherfucker talking and walking. It don't work like that. There's developed stages, and y'all don't have it. That's why we look at y'all so crazy to try to claim it. How y'all claim some shit that, you know, some of y'all, I mean, your customs and cultures and the music y'all playing ain't nowhere close to that. But yet, because you anchored here under the spirit and visual and culture of ours, you claim it because you became good at it. There's nothing wrong that you got talent and you could do it, but give what belongs to where it belongs. No, I can't do that because everybody got they real hate for us in some ways. Just like Sha'Carri Richardson when she won, right? That girl done did everything because she had to carry all that stuff everybody was saying. Matter of fact, remember when she came back after she got disqualified, you know, after her mother died, and then they did the drug test, and that was the first year they did that drug test. That was the first year that they had implemented, and they caught her with it, right? And yet still let her run. Yet they had already did the test and knew and let her run anyway. And then when she did what she did, they disqualified her. So it was a lot of shit, right? So she had to go through the psychological part to go over that, go through that, right? And then when she came back, remember she raced against Mommy Rocket and Sharika, and she came in last. And the way Sharika looked at her like, this what y'all talking about? Huh? Oh, but what just happened? No. As long as that girl stay healthy, she's gonna run that. She's running that. Sha'Carri is running, and Sha'Carri told you, I'm doing this for my people. Huh? She said, I'm doing this for my people, and the rest of y'all in the world, that don't matter to me. When we like that, can't nobody fuck with us. Fuck what you heard. Can nobody fuck with us when we get like that? And that's what everybody do not want us to get. When you got that same love for your other, like I do on this every Sunday, we get like that. We gonna move mountains. We gonna make a lot of shit move. So, but anyway, I'll leave this, let that be. So now let me show you something here. Let me put this. Let me get closer because I got to show you how I'm telling you how they changed that game from a physical taking you to Africa, and now they changed the way to move you now is by telling you through your genetics. Now check this out. Let's see. Hold on, where are we at here? Let me get up there. Okay. Now let me show y'all something here. You remember when they did this? Let me put this on the screen. Y'all remember when they did this? Oh, hold on. Let me take that down. Take that down. They're going to hit the cash up. They didn't hit me already. They ain't nobody. You can still hit that light skin light, right? Right? The year of return, right? 2019. Everybody remember that? Right? Is this Back to Africa again? Is it in the disguise of Back to Africa? Is that what they were doing? Back to Africa once again, huh? You want to go back? Come on. Like the old commercial, come back to Jamaica from the kids, right? Come back to Africa. That's what they were trying to get us with, right? And a lot of people did it. They went in there, put on the gear and latent and going over to the wall crying. At least you know over here what done happened. You don't know who. Well, I tell you, huh? That's psychological. That's propaganda at its finest. You name who was on the boat that's tied to you. Steve Harvey, answer that one. Ding! Answer that one. You'll never get the number one answer. You won't get the top 5 answers. You can't get the top 5 answers. You couldn't get it. Who came up out of that place y'all over there crying about? You ain't gonna be able to find them. You're not gonna be able to find them. Now, some of them, now again, let me hold on, let me take that back. I'm sorry, hold on, let me take that back. Because there is some people who will be able to find, because there was some people who did come from the continent here but not at the time that they're telling you. You know what I'm saying? Not at that 1619, none of that stuff, wasn't none of that. This stuff don't come until later on to maybe mid-1700s. Well, how you know that, Mr. Blum? How could you say that? Well, how could I say that? Okay. All right. You remember in that story, and we're going to get back to this part here. Now, should I go? Let's see. Let's see. Can I? Well, let me stay here. We already here. Let me go here, right? So the year return, right, as you see on your screen. Now, I want you to check this out. I'm going to show you how they connected to the people who is trying to move you, but not so much as put you on the boat, but they're going to try to move you through the DNA, right? So it says the year return, Ghana 2019, is an initiative of the government of Ghana, along with the United States-based Adinkra group, okay, Adinkra group, that is intended to encourage African diasporans to come to Africa, especially Ghana, specifically Ghana, to settle and invest in the continent. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, listen to that, right? So this was a government initiative, right, by Ghana, right? Why? It is just a place of order that decided was going to do it, or has anything to do with, you know, our people, your people, or was this some kind of business deal, right? You know, Adinkra. Who is that? Who is that? Okay, we don't know, right? We're gonna get to that. Who is that? Right? So Ghana and somebody in the United States is the one who set this up. It was somebody in the United States who's setting this up. Okay? Let me show you this other part here. Hold on. Let me show you this. Hold on. Now let me show you. Okay, now look at this. Okay, let's look at this. Go to Wikipedia. This is what it say. The year return, Ghana 2019, is an initiative of the government of Ghana, along with the United States-based Adinkra group that is intended to encourage African diasporans to come to Africa, specifically Ghana, to settle and invest in the continent. It was formally launched by President Nana Akufo-Addo, September 2018 in Washington, D.C., as a program for Africans in the diaspora to unite with Africans. Now again, Africans in the diaspora to unite with Africans. The year 2019 is a symbolic, what? The year 2019 is symbolic as it is commemorated 400 years. Since the first enslaved Africans touched down in Hampton, in the English colony of Virginia in America. Now they're talking about the 1619, right? Now again, the 1619 story of the 20-odd Negroes is a boat going to Veracruz, Mexico. Was never intended to come here. White Lion, I think they call that shit, right? Was never intended to come here. So why is that the beginning of a story of a ship that y'all took the booty and brought it in and took the indigents and started working them? Was there slavery already here? There's a conflict in that. There really is a conflict based on, if you look at the law of the time, you look at the story that they try to sell. Because remember, they tried to tell you Anthony Johnson, the black man who happened to be a free black man that owned so much acreage and land, and he was enslaving, I think, black and whites, got into a conflict about a particular individual that he had his indenture that didn't give him all his time, eventually go to court. And that's probably 1654, right? But there ain't no record of that. It's just a story. There's no record. You can't find no record of that. But they probably had went to court. There ain't no record. So the next record is 1661, where they say two white men and a black man ran away off their indenture from the plantation, got caught by the paddy road, gave the 2 white ones more indentured time and made this one, which is John Punch, turned him into the first recorded slave in the United States history, 1661. And by coincidence, if you go look at John Punch, you're going to see that it says Barack Obama's mama was related to John Punch. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? John Punch, the first slave on history, is supposedly Barack Obama through his white mama. Okay, right? That's what they said, right? All right, with that being said, so now 1661 is the beginning of this one individual, but I still ain't hear no slave trade. Still no slave trade yet, right? But see, that's what they said in this return to Africa. They talked that that's what they commemorated, 1619. But there ain't no slave trade. So right there's some problem with this, right? So it goes on, the program has also recognized the diaspora's achievement and sacrifices in the time since that event. Oh, what? You gonna do what? Achieve our achievements. This our land. Nigga, this is our shit. We ain't talking about that part. We ain't talking about what our sacrifice and achievements is. Starting from when President Barack Obama made a visit to Cape Coast in 2009. I seen that video when he went to Africa and with his father's supposedly family, right? And he's there. I seen that video, him and Michelle, or some say Michael, but you know. So anyway, yeah. So again, as I told you, the secret is John Punch. And now he's the first black president. Malcolm told you, rewrite history, retell history, right? Okay. So the Ghana Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture lined up a state of activity and celebration of the resilience of the African spirit. Many African Americans shared their stories regarding the experience in Ghana during the year return. Now, again, quick to throw the African on you. They know they Africans, but you don't know you African. Matter of fact, it's African is something they only call it when they get over here. They don't call it some African over there, I don't think. But here they is, branding you African, and those going over there, talking about telling your experience over here. No, you going over there to learn about what you supposed to be over there. Everybody know what happened to you. They sold you. What the hell are you? What we talking about here? What the hell are we talking about? What happened to me? Everybody know what happened to me, right? Remember in the Mac when Goldie was remember Goldie had just got out, he still had on, he had on his he had his DOC suit, right? Department of Corrections suit, right? And Lulu came in there, Goldie, he's like, hey, you see me out here? He said, where you been? I've been in that place locked up, He said, you can see where I am, right? It's like telling them, you're going to tell them the story and what happened to you here as if they didn't know when they sold you. They know what the hell happened to you. That's why they're doing the whole thing of returning. Why don't we sit down here and talk about how you going to pay and give me some land? No, we ain't talking about that. We talking about how you going to invest. What kind of game is this? Yeah? Yes, you see how people play on say, what kind of game is it? Wait, if we return it after what people claim they did to us, we probably get some kind of severance package, right? We probably get some golden shoot pairs of package, right? What they call it, golden shoot, right? So we're going to get a package over here. No. You tell us your story. You want to buy some fufu? You want to buy some fufu? You want to buy, right? How this helping me? What's my name? Are we going to give you a name? No. What's my family name? Can't tell you. We don't know. Well, how am I African then? Nobody want to answer that. Everybody just going with, because why? You've been programmed that. Been programmed to be African. African. Look, you look just like them people. What that mean? You look like somebody. That don't mean nothing. Damn, see how people so desperate? You look like somebody. Really? I ain't let nobody look like me over there. You ever met somebody look like you? I ain't never met nobody look like me over there. Shit. I look like my people over here. And I know damn well I know there's something going over there now because they're getting mighty brown. You know what I'm saying? Used to be nice, heavily melanated, right? But they done lost that. Like, what happened? What done happened? What done got in y'all? Don't pay me no attention, right? Don't pay me no attention. I got a message here. Who I got? Hold on. Pan-African Power. Lex Vortex Show. Okay, you said, all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what you choose. That's fine, brother. To each his own. What we say over here, you know, again. But my thing is, those who want to be from here, why y'all so persistent on trying to make somebody turn for you and telling them that they hate themselves, they love the white man? Why y'all do that? Why can't, if the story isn't conclusive, just because y'all buy the story of somebody supposedly came on boats and you take that as the truth of truth, what is y'all proof? You know this is the lyingest motherfucker on the planet, right? You know he lied. Now, I'm not saying again that some people can't do their lineage and find that African descent in it. But what about those who cannot? And some of us can go back, you know, we've been here. Okay, if we even just take the 1619 story, that's still over 10 generations, right? Your loss, brother, your loss. Oh, that's my loss? Oh, okay. You say it's a historical, it's not a story, it's a historical fact. Okay. You can say for your family, right, that it's historical. How do you brand a whole group of people a particular story? If I was to show, let me show you something, brother. I'm glad you're here. Let me show you something. We can do this in real time. We can do it right here. Let me show you something. If I show you this census right here, right? Let me show this census. Let me take that down, right? You see that census number there? Now remember, these are their documents. They're never going to be our documents, right? This is the stuff they presented, right? Let me give you an even better one so I can highlight it. But if you see that, if you look down at the bottom, you see the year. You see 1790 at the bottom. You see what they claim we got, how many people we had as being designated as black, right? We're not even, in 1790, we're not even 800,000 people. We're not even 800,000 according to their count. And you know they had to keep a count because it was business. That's where they're making their money. Their assets was because, again, people being property. Now, again, that's for those people who are under that. That's not all of us, but for those, if you want, we just going to say. And then they show you over in that little box over there to the right, they'll show you that the people who considered free. Look at the number they said of free in 1790. You already got 36,000 free already in 1790. Now, what's happening in the Caribbeans, in the Spanish Main, the numbers there might be factual. But when it comes here to this land, those numbers don't match. And y'all do, again, you say historical fact. What's the historical fact? The numbers don't match. The story is being told, but the numbers don't match. And y'all want to be very persistent on it because you want to be that. That's fine if that's what you choose, right? You're suffering from African self-hate syndrome. What make you think I hate Africans? Because what? I don't claim African? You want me to be African for what purpose? Because what? I have melanin skin? Does melanin skin make me African? So you believe that the origin of man started in Africa. You believe that, right? That's your belief. So you believe in the Adam and Eve story too, right? Let me ask you that question. You believe in the Adam and Eve story? Do you believe in the Adam and Eve story? Because you're saying I have African self-hate. I don't hate nobody because they're African. And you say syndrome. Nah, bro. I'm clear-minded. You understand? I've been in the system longer, probably longer than you. I've been fighting this longer than out of no organization. I've been labeled a troublemaker my whole damn life, sir. Let me tell you something. I've been in when the shit was real. You understand? I've been in there when nobody asked teachers to try to put your ass up under the desk. When you little, but see, I was a motherfucker, pick the motherfucker, throw it up on the side. I gotta go to the principal because he won't submit. You talking about syndrome? No, nigga, you talking about a motherfucker that come from a motherfucker who fight. You got it twisted. See, that's y'all kickstand move. Talking about some syndrome. No, the syndrome is y'all. Syndrome is y'all the type, like, you know, it's like little kid that be with his mama. Mommy, you won't play with me. Man, because motherfucker won't play with you. Yeah. Everybody don't love you. Everybody not gonna play with you. Yeah, but you want everybody to be what you are because that's what you choose. You choose that. Okay? No, don't. Where you running to? Matter of fact, I'll let you come in, bro. I'll give. Put the link in here. I'll put the link. You come in here. We ain't got to type. You can come in. We can talk. We can put this live. Show me where I am, where I ain't gonna wake up, where I'm sleeping. If you can show me, I'll change right in front of everybody. You saying that I'm sick? Yeah, I'm gonna send. Here, I'm gonna put the link in there. Put that link in there. Come on, there, bro. Come on. You know what I'm saying? All right, come on. I think I can put you in there. Hold on. Yeah, because you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because y'all take that to be somebody hating y'all. There ain't no hating y'all, man. You understand? What's okay? Again, I ask you the question: do you believe the Adam and Eve story? Do you believe that? Do you believe that? No, I guess you know what I'm saying. Look, man, I'll defend my position. I'll let you come in here. You still here? Because I'll send it to you. Hold on, let me put it there. I'll put it in there. There you go. Anybody want to come in here? Come on in. Put it up there. Come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not them old cats you be seeing on here that can't handle themselves. I don't come out of them organization. I don't come out of that school, nigga. This is from the mud up. You see that Uzi coming out of my mouth? Oh, I can handle it. Come on with it. I'm gonna stand on what I'm talking about. See, the thing is, you trying to tell historical fact. What historical fact when the numbers won't match? You just taking the story because you want to believe it. But I'm asking you, come on here and show it. That's the whole problem. See, I forensic this history. I ain't just reading just the story. I do the forensic. You just want it because for some odd reason, y'all want us to be because that's the ideology you took. That sounded good. But what have we benefit from it? We allowed everybody to gain and we got nothing out the deal. So now we have to recollect ourselves, look at our position and say, we got to take care of us first. We don't let too many people get in good positions to the fact that now they bold to tell, they taking stuff right in our damn face and telling us it ain't ours. So we got to pull back the rug and say, wait a minute. Do you know that Pan-Africanism is actually an American invention? That came from here. That didn't come from there. Let me say that one more again. Don't you know Pan-Africanism come from here? It didn't start from nowhere. It's not foreign, and it don't work unless we make it work. So if we dropped it and say it ain't got shit, it ain't got no life. That horse dead. You understand? If we don't pick up the ball and run of it, ain't no game. That's why everybody getting mad, because we starting to pick up a new ball and play a different game. So we playing a different game. So if I put it out there, I'm waiting. So anybody gonna say, no, there you go. Come on in. You talking about somebody talking about syndrome. Nigga, ain't no syndrome here. I ain't got no problem with a person being African. What's my benefit in it? In this land, that the land I'm gonna probably die in, ain't gonna be no problem. I am gonna die in. What does African help me in Africa? What is it gonna help me? Because in this land, calling yourself African, according to everybody say about that law, you ain't got nothing coming, right? So I don't do it. I'm not saying not African because of that. I'm just telling you from a legal standpoint, how people say, well, you call yourself black. Well, if you call yourself African, you ain't got shit coming. So why would you deem yourself African? If you don't like me saying I'm black, why you want me to be African too? See? The American part tells you, what does the American part say? The American part said that I am a what? Copper color racist. I'm part of the copper color people. Right? That was here prior before the European. But you got a problem with that. I have to be African so that it suits your taste. When you on the continent of Africa, do they not all got their own tribal names and yet they're all on one continent? So there is some differentiation between each other. There's some differences that people group under. So why can't we be the, let's say, Indigenous American tribe over here from, if you want to say Africa, but we the Indigenous American tribe, right? What's wrong with that? Y'all got a problem? No, y'all want us to drop our flag and pick y'all flag up so it's soothing for you so that you can actually really steal the benefits by us labeling us ourselves that has been allowed for other people to steal and then be in the corners talking shit, say they got syndromes. See? That's how you know how them niggas got syndromes. Them niggas fucked up. They don't want to be African. That's why we over here stealing all that shit. So now we said, fuck that. We finna regroup, we finna rebrand ourselves, come on a new hay, and the only way you can get it is do this. And then motherfuckers be like, you gonna let white folks get reparations when you do lineage. There's only a couple million Africans to get. Well, nigga, wait a minute. I can't go to nobody goddamn job that I don't work for and get a damn check because I know you. Let me say that one more again. I can't go to nobody damn job and say, hey, I know him. Can I get a check too? And they gonna give me a check. Now, if a white person happen to be in a lineage, what the fuck can I do about it? Let's say, for instance, like people say they have, going back in history, let's say Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass had a white woman that had a baby, and then the baby stayed as is, and they can go back to trace of Frederick Douglass. What the hell can I say that Frederick Douglass got a baby by a white person? They claiming him back together. What does that got to do with me? See, but anything to keep us from getting some shit, people good at telling us that, though. They good at telling us that. Y'all need to stop that, man. Y'all need to stop that. But we sick. No, ain't no sick. No, we sick, boss. That's the only sick around here. Claiming something but won't take their ass nowhere. Want to keep in here trying to tell you to go somewhere. They ain't trying to go nowhere, but really trying to put you to go. Stop it, man. Stop that. Y'all need to stop it. Y'all need to stop that shit. Now he ain't gonna want to come in here now. He ain't want to come in here now. See, you want to put that in there like I was I was not going to. Come on. Come on. Come on. You understand? Come on, man. He ain't gonna do that. But anyway, I'm going 3 hours on this one. Let me go and finish this last part up and get up out of here. And I appreciate all y'all being here. Hope y'all hit that like button, subscribe, come back. Next Sunday, I'll be back again. You understand? We'll be having something else to talk about. So let me go ahead and finish this up. But no, man, it's not hating nobody from no other country, man. What's wrong with claiming who I am and what my people are? Why y'all got a problem with that? That's really the problem. And if you come from us and that's what your ideology is, I'm not going to argue you about that. That's your preference. You understand? That's your preference. So why am I going to argue with you about a preference that you choose on the ideology that's suitable for you? Fine. But I can't be me. I gotta have a syndrome? Motherfucker ain't make no way for me. You understand? Many of us there's many of us who come from what generation broke. We generational broke. How about that? For a lot of you who don't know what that is, generational broke is we've been broke from generation, working poor. Ain't really broke the cycle because, again, it's all about sometimes, somebody gets some potential. You try to put all your interest and help them develop themselves so they can come out and then help them to pull the rest of everybody out. That's what a lot of us doing. It's like a dead ass battery on a car that's draining because the alternator is bad. Maybe you may not understand. Let me say that one more again. Like driving a car with a bad ass battery, but the alternator ain't strong either. Draining the shit out your damn battery, right? Trying to pull everybody else in so it can get started. And that's what happened with a lot of people that be the first one in their family get some money. So many people behind them ain't got no damn money that everybody trying to, ride off them to get on. They can do it in the beginning, then after a while it start draining them and they can't carry everybody. That's what y'all be doing. Y'all drain the shit out of us and then try to tell us, well, it'd be better if you go over there, but you ain't packing up and going your damn self. You got me ready to pack up and go, and y'all done got a lot of our brothers and sisters doing it, and I don't wish no badness on none of them. I want the best for them. But we see that storm coming. We know what time it is. Now that whole thing, the BRICS and all that shit look good, right? That BRICS, right? British, Russian, India, China, South Africa, right? Now listen to what I just said. British, Russia, India, China, South Africa, but yet they got the nigga in there cheesing and greasing. No, you gonna be the labor, nigga. We working y'all ass. Y'all the youngest nation in the world. They're going to work the labor out of them. And this motherfucker here playing like they fighting with the motherfucker. He's sneaking in too. That was the first black president did when he brought AFCOM in there. Don't pay no attention to me. Anyway, let me finish this and get the hell up out of here. Y'all got me here talking all kind of shit. Let's go. So let's get to that part I was trying to show you. So I'm gonna show him. He knew right there. He knew them numbers did not match it. But that his story, he's gonna say, I'm gonna break his ass down. I'm gonna break him down. He can't sustain. When he said historical fact, oh, you talking to the right person, because that's what I'm the whiteologist. That's all I do is study that shit. I studies them. So you want to come with it? Come with it. Don't come with that other side because you're gonna be messed up. That's good for that. But that other side, you better know that other side because they tell you what they did to you. And then you just take their shit and give it back to them. That's what I was gonna do. I'm gonna give you back what they said. And you wasn't gonna be able to stand. I'm sorry. You want to believe everything they tell you. You know they lie. But yet you won't believe that shit. Go ahead. All right. All right, so let me get back to what I was on, man. You try to distract me, man. Get out of here with that. Okay. There ain't no hatred, bro. You come back anytime. I got no problem with you. Right? So let's look at this, right? Just like he said okay, this is perfect. I wish you were still here. I hope you're still here. People of African descent, right? Right? People of African descent, because that's what they do. They don't say we Africans. They say African descent. Y'all ever notice how they be doing that? African descent, right? Okay. Well, what they mean by African descent? What do they mean by that? Let's look at what they mean by that, right? Look at the screen there, right? What they mean by that, right? Now remember, this they shit they putting out there, right? This they shit. So everybody like to argue with this what they put. You argue what they say. Who are people of African descent? People of African descent live in many countries in the world, either dispersed among the local populations or in communities. The largest concentration can be found in Latin America and the Caribbean, where the estimates reach 150 million. Let me say that one more again. Who are people of African descent? People of African descent live in many countries of the world. So where we in the many countries? Is that what you're trying to throw us in there? Okay, let's watch this. Either dispersed among the local populations or in the communities. Okay. The largest concentration can be found in where? Latin America and the Caribbean. How many they say estimated? 150 million. Remember that number I just showed you? Remember them numbers I just showed you a second ago? Remember them day numbers. Them ain't not my numbers, them day numbers, right? Let's go back, put that back on the screen for me just a second. Remember these numbers I put up there? Remember the numbers I put? Remember that? Brazil got 200 and what? 16 million. Colombia got 52. Venezuela, right? Haiti, all that. So they said 150 million, right? They gonna be short. So they gonna be short. Or they're gonna be short in here, because if we got 50 million, right? Some people say, well, where you getting that number from? Well, let me just say something. Let me show you something. Right? Let me show you, just in case motherfuckers thinking that shit. Black population in the US is 46.9 million. Okay. 14.2%. That's what they said. That ain't what I said. That's what they said, right? 46.9 million. You know, you didn't even count everybody, right? So, okay, with that being said, so for 150 million people, according to them, and they didn't even say the United States, they didn't even mention the United States, the Caribbeans and Latin America. They did not include the United States. Okay, they did not include it, did they not? So the 150 million is in that, again, Spanish man in the diaspora, where that historical fact he was talking about, that's where the transatlantic slave trade, that's what the acento is. When they telling you they bringing people to the port, you don't know what that's about. You don't know who that is. But I know if you do those numbers on that census, I'll show you one thing. I bet that there's way more white people coming here in that census than you see in black people number changing. I could bet you prove you that. I bet you there is millions of white people coming to this country, and only a million, barely a million people every 10 years of black people, which means it's basically growing, populated through birth. You get what I'm saying? But this other number, you know, they coming in on boats because they wasn't here originally. When they telling us they bringing us. But the other thing too, you gotta look at this about that historical fact you want to make. How gonna be a historical fact when they telling you when they came here under Virginia Company in 1619, right? You setting up shop. It goes defunct in 1624. You start all over again. After that, the king takes it back. Well, Charles, what's his name? King James and them, they take the shit back. Restart all over again. Now, the question I'm going to ask you is there a difference between the crown and the colonists? Is the colonists and the crown the same people, or are these different people? Are the colonists private people with some kind of contract working with somebody else? So you got to get into the forensic of this shit. You want to just talk. You want to say something about somebody's sick, but then when it's time for you to come on with it, you ain't ready to come with it. Right? So anyway, with that being said, look at this. Look, 1770, man. Let me just show the little map they got here. 1770. Look at this shit. This is the only place they got. You got to remember, the colonists is going to separate from the crown, right? Who you think the independence is? Who is that? They're becoming the 13 colonies and becoming the United States. Didn't you ever figure out? Wait a minute, Britain, France, those are empires, a nation, right? Who the fuck is this United States motherfucker? Have you ever figured that shit out yet? You ain't figure that out. Why you keep talking about there's a corporation and all that shit? Why they keep, you ain't, boy, stop it, man. How you gonna be doing all this, fighting your homeland, pairing up with the so-called indigenous, fighting them, bringing slaves as black people and white people? You doing all this at that time? Come on, man. Historical fact. You gotta get your head out your ass. That's what you better do. You got your head in your ass. That's what you got. Stop putting your head out your ass, man, and quit trying to just. I know sometimes we get stuck in a rut on some shit somebody gave us. And the one thing about as you get older, you learn that a lot of shit that you got in the beginning, a lot of that shit was tomfoolery. You got to actually go back and reverse to purge a lot of that shit, the lies of shit that you got, and then start refilling it with truth. You're going to do more for your own truth on your own that you ever going to get out that institution, because that institution is there to program your ass to be their servant. And when you come to that understanding, then you sit here program. See, you want to landlock yourself to one damn place. Nigga, we try to make ourselves everywhere in, so that gives him no place to run. He don't got no place to claim. Y'all want to give him a place to claim. You say give a nigga an inch, you take a foot. Give him a foot, he gonna take a yard. Rest of the shit, he gonna take all your shit. See, just like you want to say, okay, if the beginning of origin of all man, does that include him? You know what I heard somebody say? Oh, because he don't have melanin, he ain't included in that. Oh, he different species. Well, wait a minute now. Then you got to explain to me where he came from then. Where did he come from? Or some cat, rat, dog, they go all that shit, Yakub, they go, oh, okay. But you still got, okay, so 2 legs like you, 2 feet like you, a head like you, difference in skin, and a lot of other shit in there, right? But somehow you can make a baby with this motherfucker, right? That's like trying to make a cat and a dog have a baby. I don't think it's possible. But some way possible you can have a baby with them. So somewhere there's some similarities. There's some differences, but there's some similarities that's compatible enough, even though they allow y'all be having babies with the people of other. They got to take them shots so that they biology don't kill that baby, because it's foreign to it. They don't be telling you that they be in there taking them shots, right? Ask Serena. I'm gonna die, huh? Anyway. So anyway, let me finish this up. Shit, I'm 3 hours. I don't even want this. Yeah, man, I tell y'all, they didn't make him do all this shit. Anyway. So anyway, here's the Ghana thing, right? So they talking about this group here, this group called the Adrinka group. If you go look up at this Adinkra group, they come out of, I think, Washington, D.C. There's a brother in there, and they tied into, in that story that I did, you heard that there was a geneticist or archaeologist, I think he was a part of the excavating of that burial ground. He's the chief of that, and he's part of that group. So ironically, the dude that is become the one that is the head of the burial group of New York is also tied into the same group that's doing the return of Africa. So he is part of setting up that DNA to get you to believe you from Africa and part of the same return to Africa. So that tells me somewhere in the background, somebody connected to somebody somewhere. But if you want to believe all that, brother, be my guest, man. But don't ever come trying to label me talking about if you ain't gonna go ahead and try to challenge that, talking about syndrome. Yeah. I might be a lot of things, but that part ain't gonna be it. That's not gonna be it. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to go ahead and do that, but you didn't want to do that. You wanted to say what you said and ran up out of here. And I gave you the opportunity. So anytime, anybody, again, we can agree to disagree. I got love for you. Whether we agree or disagree, I got love for you. I got love for my people. That's why I do this and been doing it as long as I've been doing it, and can't get nowhere, no traction out of here. Most of the people would have been done quick. So that tells you something about me, right? That should tell you a little bit about me. You know, you don't see me, but the point is, I've been doing this a long time. You know, some people see that they go back. You can't go back. You can go back to day one. Day one when I started this, back in 2012. Because motherfuckers out here talking shit about Gabrielle Douglas. about her hair. The hell wrong with niggas out here talking that shit? She just wanted to damn go. Y'all out here talking. So I got on that. That was sparked it. That was the spark I couldn't take. But I had been always doing this long before I got on the internet anyway. So anyway, but the point is, that's what that is, man. So this whole thing about African descent don't necessarily mean it's you. If a person can't prove you African, it's you voluntarily raising your hand, I'm African. So if you went to court, you automatically, you just like, what's his name? Dred Scott. The minute Dred Scott told the court or during that abatement, when he said that his parents was African, he had already lost. Go read it. The minute he told them his parents was Africans, he was done. Now I'm not saying that, so some people might think that, oh brother, you don't want to be African. That's why you saying it because you no. He knew his parents was African. If you know your people African, what makes you think my people African because your people African? You can't say that. You can only speak on yourself. But many of y'all get in here, y'all get to thinking y'all know us, been around us, and thinking you figure this out, got the combination to my lock, and then you come in here telling me who I am. Like, nigga, you don't know me from Adam. Like, you don't even know Adam, but you know what I'm saying? So stop it, man. Stop it. Stop it. If there was a beginning and the people were of color, when they sprouted out, you don't claim back to origin. What kind of shit is that anyway? Why are you taking somebody back to the very origin of man to get them to be a part of you? Why you gotta do that? Why that don't apply to other people? Why everybody else get a pass? Why is it only the Black American, Indigenous American, the one of everybody trying to make an African? You ever notice that the other people, they get to say they Jamaican, they Caribbean, they Haitian, they say they Belizean, they right? They get to say but boy, we can't say we not Africans. They not forced to say it, but when it come to us, y'all sick with it. Anybody, y'all sick with it. Real bad. Really, really, really bad. Matter of fact, the dude that was in there, this was the cat here. The dude that's on his name is Michael Blakey. He's the one that's the project that is going to be tied in with this Adrinka group that you see in the Return of Ghana. He's the one that's in charge of the DNA that they were going to make. And matter of fact, if you see here, a little bit of his profile there, right? That's a little bit of his background. Okay? That's his background. So let me put his background up there, right? So on his background, hold on. Right? He said he'd been working on the interior of human biology and culture in varieties of ways. These include an examination of the social history of theories that connect biology. Now, wait a minute. Social histories of theories. He said historical fact. In science, they only got theories. So where you get the facts in history? Whose facts are you believing? Because here he is in science with the tangible evidence, and he can't even say history of facts that connect biology. He's saying social history of theories, right? Connect biology, nature, social inequalities, and behaviors. The articulation between human biology, racial ideology, and public policies. Wait a minute. What kind of, you know what I'm saying? This is all the shit about reconstruction. If you ask me, this is a motherfucker who can help to reconstruct some shit to fit a narrative that whoever paying him needs, right? But anyway, pay no attention to me. It says that the political economy of the health and industry society, the bioarchaeology of the African diaspora, and the ethics and epistemology of publicly engaged research I also have a long-standing interest in how museum interpretations demonstrate interpretations. See, that don't necessarily mean facts. That's how he see it, right? Demonstrate ideology and in the development of methods. See, he interprets, demonstrates the ideology and in the development of methods in dental paleontology. My research of the 17th and 18th century African burial ground in New York and the comparative database on the bioarchaeology of the African diaspora are being developed here at the Institute of Historical Biology, which I direct. He's the cat that's the one that end up what they say they use that findings to connect us here, supposedly. But then remember what they said when they did originally, they all said it was European. And they said that couldn't be true. See, they didn't even want to agree with the science. Just like Otzi Iceman was supposed to have been the European. And then when it come to find to do it again, it wasn't what they said it was originally. So how you say historical fact? The historical fact is I take his documents and I show it and present it to you, and then you give me that history he's telling you, and see, does it match? It don't match. That will be considered a primary. That document of that census will be considered a primary. That's what they made. That's what the government made. That's what they say. But they didn't count everybody. Well, I don't worry about that. Well, if you didn't count, that's your too bad. That's your problem. All I need is what you said and what it showed, and it don't match. Okay? Anyway, so let me get out of here. I did that. Okay. We did that. All right, so that's what that is, right? So again, you can have some of our people in prominent positions whose work is to do good work. But again, my analogy would be, you know, back in the day, you used to do Easter egg hunts for kids. Now, grown folks take the eggs, color the eggs, hide the eggs, bring the kids out, and let the kids try to find the eggs, right? Grown folks know all the eggs there because they put them out there. Sometimes these archaeological digs that they let our people do, they say, oh, we discovered, but who sent you on a mission to go in that direction anyway as for some kind of research? They did. So maybe they took you in the area to know that you gonna let you lead you to find some shit, and then they want you to discover it because they want you to do the one, again, using you to be the one to sell it. Take it or leave it alone. I'm the most hated show in the Black Corner of YouTube. This has been your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blow Your Minds. This has been another one of those shows. It's late. I don't know. I'm sitting here almost 12 o'clock. Normally you don't do that. Normally it's been in and out. But I appreciate all y'all sitting here listening to me, whether I got into a little rant or not. And the brother that was here, no hard feelings, bro. I ain't no hard feelings, bro. But I was gonna let you get that off. You could come in here, we could go ahead, agree to disagree, or we could agree to agree or disagree to disagree. It's all good. I ain't one of them that gonna block you, and I don't do all that. You know, that's tough skin. Where I grew up at, we sat on the damn corner for fun, you know, cutting, talking shit with them motherfuckers. So if we're gonna talk about this shit, this ain't personal. This is just what one's research and one belief may be. Facts will be laid out if you got facts to lay out, and we can do that. That's fine. Anybody want to do that? Well, you can always hit me up at WeUpReport. WeUpReport.com, yahoo.com. Send in, and if you want to come in, challenge on that, you can do that. That's fine. No problem, man. This the Whiteologist. Y'all the Africanists, the Pan-Africanists. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you what he said he did. Now you debunk that, right? You say the African. Their history will tell you African only started when? Over there was Tunisia, a city that the Roman went over there and started. That became the first part of Africa, and then it spread out through the whole continent. Then now some of y'all tell over the Afri people. When did Africa start? When is the beginning of the landmass being called, or the continent being called Africa? But yet y'all sure to call yourself that. Yet they got a story talking about Africanus, Scipio Africanus, right? Okay, so there's different variations to that. But okay, what did the people, if you say we all the same people, what did we call it? Why y'all calling it that when you say it's a discrepancy as to whether they name it or it came from you? Well, go with the name that you know that you named. Why y'all ain't doing that? Because there's some submission to them. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's called standard of civilization. Those are my avid watchers over here. I done told you about that. Standard of civilization is a game they created. And when they created that damn game, everything that was a melanin was a savage. Okay? Everything under that was savage. When everybody talking about they're not racist and the whole thing about whiteness and all this, that's an old game. That ain't new. Yeah, Johann Blumenbach and all them, yeah, they did what they did. But they already set the parameters of that long before then. So, like I said, man, anytime you come in here, we can do that, we can do it. So again, I appreciate all of y'all coming in. This is the most hated show on the Black Corner Internet. I'm your host once again, Mr. Blows Your Minds. This has been another We Up Report. Matter of fact, some of y'all don't know, go over to We Up Report and subscribe over there. Help me to get that channel up so I can finally get something from YouTube. You understand? I get that one to 1,000. I start posting stuff. I'm probably going to start posting like instead of on my Sunday show, it's always going to be this. I'll start posting little stuff up during the week of stuff that I see. So go over there, subscribe. If you already did it, I appreciate all of you. I think last one I seen over there was what's that brother name? Oh man. My brother that came over here. He always come over. Damn, I can't think of his name. But anyway, I appreciate that I think he was the last one I seen that subscribe. So anybody else, go over to We Up Report. See the thumbnail that's on here? It looks like that when you go over there and subscribe to that. Help me to get that up, build it up. Let these motherfuckers, they shouldn't have been giving me some money, not y'all so much. I do ask, right? Because shit, it is what it is. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. What you think? You think them I could be around them motherfuckers working? You think so? I've been in the game a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? Been doing this. You ain't gonna see nobody in here talking like this. You're not gonna see them do this, right? And to be doing as long as I did, and then to be seeing I'm locked down the way I'm locked down, they're not gonna do this, man. So again, you want to contribute to any way to help me and my family, I appreciate so much. Otherwise, this is the most hated show. Until my next show, y'all. Into the next show.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.